What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time.
We go.
Booner, Lukas, and Gentry. It is Monday, June 10th. Boys, how was the weekend? We'll start with the weekend, and we'll get
Great.
into
Day of month.
How was the weekend?
It's a great weekend, brother. Normal weekend. Off-season weekend. I'm not a fan of the off-season weekends. No football. It's like I wake up on Saturdays now, and I just wake up and go, oh, football's on. Nothing. No, it's like withdrawals, dude. It's terrible.
No, I had a great weekend. It was the niece and nephew's birthday. Few had a football game, so went and checked that out. Oh, don't tell me it's cutting out. Are we good on the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, you look
good.
Cut out
We hear
for
you.
like 2 seconds. No, but it was good to spend time with them. Hung out with the fam. But yeah, good time. Went to Topgolf for the first time. Sucked, but good times.
Yeah, you know, I can relate to that. Klotz, I've been diving into the golf sphere the last couple of weeks. Booner's been he's been my coach. You know, I've been
it's more so like mental coach.
Yeah.
And you guys know me, I love joking around and laughing. So sometimes I'm just like my man Jeff is like missing the ball 10 times, and I'm just like trying to be so quiet, not laughing. Like, I don't want my boy to get down on himself.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hey, we went this Sunday. It was fun. Had a lot of fun. I chipped one in outside the green. Boo, that was the highlight. That was the highlight of and literally
hit a couple good shots.
So I'm trying to get better, you know. So, you know, that was fun. Next weekend's Father's Day, so we got a good week this week leading up until that. We got a lot to talk about today, actually.
I got electrocuted today too, boys. Pretty bad, by the way.
Wait,
like the worst ever. Like it was like
electrocuted.
I was going to plug in my computer, and it was like at this exposed outlet, and my dumbass had like, if the plug was here, like the prong, I had my finger like right here, so my finger was in front of it, and I was at the coffee shop like doing the work, and it went poof, and everybody looked at me like I was like a little off a little bit, but I was scared, man. It was the first time where I've been like actually like I was like shook. I didn't know what just happened. Weirdest feeling ever.
I've never been like electrocuted, like where it's
like made my whole forearm cramp. I was like,
I've been electrocuted.
Of course you have. How'd you get electrocuted?
Dude, I don't know. I just with my like stepdad and stuff, like working like growing up. You know, I don't know if you guys like ever had parents that like would like my dad would like mess with me, like I touched this battery here as a joke, and like it would like get you, you know, just like a fun joke around, you know.
Oh well, yeah, okay.
As
like
a kid,
the battery, yeah. I get. You know what? Yeah,
but I definitely have times to where there's like extension cords and stuff with like things sticking out, and I go to grab it. It's like, oh, like whoa, dude, what happened there? But like, I've been hit a couple times, dude, for sure.
I mean, John says I've been electrocuted many times. Jesus.
Yeah, dude, it happens. If you're working, if you're a worker, sometimes it just gets you a little bit.
Blue collar. Dan
Bonji
is a guy.
off for 4 kids. Now I have no time. In parentheses or money.
Find some time. Hey, Bonji, find some time, man. I've learned this, and working now 2 jobs with this and the other job, you have to find some time for yourself, man. You have to do it. Somehow, some way. Kids, no kids, money, no money. What? Go golf on the Wii or something. Just get yourself in that sanctuary.
On the Wii.
Hey, if you still got a Wii and you're using it, kudos.
The Wii was.
Sometimes
fun.
I do wish I had a Wii. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of
The
legendary
tennis
games.
was crazy on the Wii.
Yeah, hey, it's kind of sloughed on. See, Bonjay says, "You are right, Booner. You're all right." Coach Rock says, "Jeff, what color did you paint your nails to go golfing?" I did not. I did not paint my nails. We got a golf with Coach Walk. Actually, he might honestly.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. I just honestly, it's
I'll
one
be
of the
all-time
things.
caddy.
I look at it like this. This is how I am with all things in life. I anything I do, I try to be really, really good at it. And when I'm good at something, I focus on it. So I don't do a bunch of things. I focus on things and become great at it.
Yeah.
Then there's golf. I just always knew in my head, like, I'm going to stink. I'm never doing it. I'm going to stink. I don't like that. You know, I'm competitive. But then I tried it. I went with Boone, Mike. I was out there and I attempted. I stunk, but I had a lot of fun. And I thought to myself, I got to get better, you know. And then Now I'm kind of like addicted to it. Like now I want to play because I stink and I want to get better.
You
Now
wanna
like,
get better,
it's just
yeah.
like most people, I feel like most people
When
want to play. You know,
everything I've done in life, it's like if I end up liking to do, like I'm like I really like doing this, I'm gonna find a way to. I might not be great at it. I'm gonna find a way to get good at it. And like golf, when COVID hit, the only thing you could do during COVID was either sit inside, or the only other thing you could go do was golf. And that was what I did during COVID. I just graduated from high school, or not high school. I graduated from college. That'd be crazy, man. I'd be young right now. I graduated from college. I had like 4 or 5 months until I started the job that I had accepted out of college. And I was like, I have 4 or 5 months. I have money from college. I have like my degree. I have nothing. There's COVID. I'm going to golf every day. And I literally did that. I was worse than Jeff. And I just golfed every day for like 5 months. And I decided I'm going to learn how to do this. Like I'm going to do everything I can to get good. And I got decent.
I just don't have the attention span for it. Like I could maybe play like a couple of holes, but like 18, no way, no how.
No, Klotz, you would love to golf because you don't go out there thinking I can't. Like you shut the world off, put your phone down. You don't even think about anything in your life. And for 18 holes for the next 4 hours, you are off the grid and you're just out there and just talking, having fun.
Right.
Having a drink,
whipping the golf cart.
You can do that, but like, dude, that's gonna get boring at a point. You're gonna want to.
So hold on. To defend, I thought the same thing, Lucas. Like I don't have the attention span because 18 holes, it's like good 4 or 5 hours. But you'll get there, tee off at 7. You blink, it's 12. You're like, oh, we're done. Like it happens. I don't know how to explain it. Like you're focused on each hole, and then it just goes by. Because I'm like you. I'm like 5 hours, dude. I got better shit to do. Like I'm not sitting out here for 5 hours.
I lost track of time. I had to work in the day. I look at Jeff. I go, Jeff, I have to work in 40 minutes. I have to drive home. And he was like, oh no. Like you're out there and you're just talking. Everyone's phones is down, and you're just like,
it's weird.
It's a good time.
Weird. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna try and convert one person at a time. All right,
it's like a therapy session.
I'm gonna get you too, Klotzy, one day. You'll be driving the cart, and then eventually you'll be like, let me try, and then you'll be like, shit, I gotta get good at this, and then we'll get you locked in. Dude.
All right.
I need someone else who stinks. Everyone else in the Crunch Time crew is kind of actually pretty good, besides me and you.
He just wants you to play so you stink. That's
no. I just want someone to grow with. You know what I mean? I want someone to grow with. I'm down here. The boys are up here. It's not fair, but you know what is fair is 3013 putting this out. Jeez. Voted on by Instagram followers of 3013. They voted on it all NFC North offense. I mean, look at this. I mean, this is fair, if I'm being honest. I mean, quarterback, obviously Goff. Running back was voted majority Gibbs, 54%. Actually, Goff came in at 50, but that's a group between all the quarterbacks. So Jordan Love, I'm sure, was second. But Gibbs at 54% of the votes. LaPorta, 60%. Amon-Ra St. Brown, majority. I mean, that's well over majority, 83%. Sewell, he's another one, 86%. Zeitler, 73%. Ragnell, 79%. Glasgow was 46%. So he had a majority. Decker, 46%. DJ Moore and Justin Jefferson. That is the all NFC North offense voted on by the fans of the followers of 3013. Is there anybody that you maybe look at and you're like, yeah, I respect it, but maybe not? Is there any?
I'd have to do more of a deep dive, but I think I'm almost positive about Eldon Jenkins as a guard. And again, not saying that Graham Glasgow is a bad player by any means. I think he's a really good player, but I would take Eldon Jenkins over Graham Glasgow. But I am happy to see that Glasgow is getting the respect he deserves. That's the only one where I was kind of like, huh?
And even like I might go Darisaw too. Darisaw over Decker, but that's
you guys got to remember it's voted by Instagram followers, so it's like the Lions, like Detroit Lions fans came very big on this. Like they showed up because Amon-Ra St. Brown has more votes than Justin Jefferson, and that's like the biggest argument. Who's better? Who would you rather have? And he has more votes than him. So I think a lot of Detroit Lions fans really showed up for this one.
I mean, but at the same time, you could say the same thing about the Bears and the Vikings and the Packers. I'm just happy not a single Packers player made this list.
That isn't that crazy?
That noise down.
They don't have a big fan base. It sounds like
Packers
their fan bases. Yeah, their faithfuls have gone away since they've lost. Aaron
it's
Rodgers.
Interesting, especially off the. I know he had an injury, but seeing how good TJ Hawkinson was this year, even without Kirk Cousins, that it's just instant LaPorta above him narrative. Like again, I understand what you're saying, Booner, with the Lions fans, but you'd think even Vikings fans and some people who are kind of straying away from the Lions being good again narrative, that they would take somebody that's a rookie going into his second year over a guy who's been a multiple time.
I'm taking Sam LaPorta over TJ Hawkinson. I don't care about old Pro Bowls.
Yeah, you know I will too. I'm just saying I'm surprised to see it, especially at that rate.
That's just to be honest with you, I think this is my deep dive into like the background of this. The 33rd team, who has a notable podcast, a part of the.
Oh, I didn't even think of that, Jeff.
Amon-Ra St. Brown and his brother, but he's not. I mean, no,
he's not even there. He's
not
like
he's with the Saints now.
Saints.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
A lot of Lions fans are now, like us, are well aware of 33rd team. So when these votes come out, I think Lions fans kind of dominate their followers. But I also don't disagree with who they picked. Besides maybe Decker, Darisaw, I'll give you Jenkins over Glasgow, but everything else I agree with.
Yeah, you could say you would take those guys, but like Glasgow was so good last year in the role that he filled in.
Yeah, I don't even hate that one, to be honest.
PFF wise, he was like one of the highest rated guards last year. And I know with PFF you pick and choose, but like he still was one of the highest rated. And then Zeitler is one of, like, he was elite last year and he's a Pro Bowler depending on the season. So like it's not that crazy. Like, yeah, you can make arguments, but looking at it and just being like the all NFC North team and literally 90% of it is Detroit Lions players is one of the more, like, think about this 4 years ago when we had Matt Patricia as our head coach and Quinn as the GM. Like, think about if you would have seen this graphic and you're lying. This is not going to happen. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think the only other thing I change is they picked the wrong Bears wide receiver, but I don't hate DJ Moore.
I agree. I don't know. Were you here? Did we have the conversation Thursday or Friday? I think we had a Friday when you were gone, Klotz. Or was this Thursday we had the conversation about the Bears wide receivers?
I don't know, but Keenan Allen's just one of my favorite wide receivers ever.
It was Friday. It was Friday. You were gone, and I did that, Klotzy, for you, and I said you would agree with me. I said, give me Keenan Allen over DJ Moore all day long.
Here's the thing.
He is way better.
Maybe in 2024, like, I'll hear your argument for DJ Moore, but I think this would be like the first year because Keenan Allen, dude, probably the best route runner I've seen, like, where I actually watched. And he's just so consistent. Like, he was so loyal to Phillip Rivers, and I could not tell you why. I could not imagine being a wide receiver of his caliber, getting sidearm slants that were just suicide balls for 90% of my career. But I hope he has some success with the Bears, just not when he's playing the Lions, because he's one of my favorite.
Keenan Allen's the best player they have on that offense. Yeah. He is by far the best player on that offense.
Phillip Rivers threw that man into so many just huge hits, and he's a skinny dude, so it's just his frame couldn't take it. Pause.
Yeah, well, that's the only thing with Keenan is just availability. Like, in terms of talent, I mean, like, DJ Moore broke out this past season, had a really good year, but I mean, DJ Moore, he's always been a good receiver, but he's not like Keenan Allen's had way higher highs, even last year at 1,300 on like 12 games or whatever it was. So, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I don't hate this at all. I think for the most part, it kind of tells you that, again, AJ Hawk, we're going to keep shooting some strays at you. This is why the Lions are favored, and as they should be. Now, not just because of the follower votes, but because of the conversation we just had, which is why we don't really disagree with most of this. Lions. Now, defense.
I'd be interested.
I think. Real quick before we move on, I just thought of it. On Friday, we did the over/unders for stats on FanDuel, and Keenan Allen's was at like 700. That's what the conversation was, and I said take that over all day. His should be the highest on that football team. He's going to easily get over 1,000. I think it was like 750 for Keenan Allen. Like, it was extremely low. And DJ Moore's was almost like 1,000.
It was like clench up. What's he thinking?
Lucas, no. If he says no, I will. Like, he muted me last week.
No. I would not at the 7. I was saying at the 1,000 because I'm trying to think because I think Keenan is going to miss the game due to injury. He'll get over 700. I'm with you there. He'll get over 700. But I'm at the 1,000. I think DJ Moore is easier to get the ball to just because you can even hand it off to him, and then I think Keenan will probably miss like 3 or 4 games. So I think probably DJ will have more yards, but I still think Keenan's just a better pure wide receiver. Like go ahead, look at that. But if I'm like taking a team in 2024, I'd rather have Keenan Allen than DJ Moore. And then it might be some bias in there.
Keenan Allen will have more yards than DJ Moore this year. I will put a lock.
I hope. I just think it's harder. I think it's harder for him that he's not in LA. He's in Chicago. I think it's different, especially when it gets cold. I think it's going to be hard. He's old. He's still
Sounds
going to be
like
a great
sounds
wide
like
receiver.
excuses to me.
No, I'm just being real.
Yeah.
Hey, you must have faith in who's getting him the ball, Boone.
Well, no, he doesn't have faith because he doesn't think Keenan Allen's going to get him the
No,
ball.
I
Yeah.
said you must have faith in who's
I
throwing him
do.
the ball.
I do. I think Keenan Allen's the most reliable receiver. Like, he has some games where he has 15 catches in the game. Like, Caleb Williams
who's
is going
getting
to
him the
rely
ball in
on him.
Chicago? Who's getting him the
Caleb
ball?
Williams. But that's
right.
easy. That's good for Caleb Williams. That's like great for Caleb. Like, to have a guy like Keenan Allen on your side as a rookie, that is unbelievable. Like, that is like his safety blanket is Keenan Allen, one of the best safety blankets in the entire league, probably. Like, dude,
He's gonna like him a lot. I'm with you.
Caleb Williams is gonna have to try that hard.
He's gonna love him.
He's not gonna have to try that hard to get Keenan Allen the ball. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you that right now.
No, he's not.
Keenan Allen.
No, he's not.
I mean, Justin Herbert, that was the easiest target he'll ever have in his career. He'll never have another Keenan Allen.
Did you guys? Okay, I saw this floating around on Twitter, and this was posted by Brian Branch, who runs a pretty good page, actually.
Not the actual Brian Branch.
No. Brian Branch. It's like a fan page. He does pretty good stuff. He posts line stuff.
Right.
He posted a TikTok from a podcast that's not, they're more, I kind of did some research on them. They got some TikTok followers. They got like 50, 60,000, but on YouTube, they're not as big. They just post that short form real content and it does well because they say pretty outlandish things. And here's one of the takes they had on Amon-Ra St. Brown. And they did a conversation, is Amon-Ra St. Brown better than blank? And they lined up receivers and they weighed in on, which of the wide receivers they would take and if they take Amon-Ra over that wide receiver. So let's hear what they had to say from someone. They're outside of Michigan. So it's I like hearing this perspective. Let's see what they said.
Is Amon-Ra St. Brown better than Deebo Samuel?
Debo's way better.
Debo's better.
Yep, Debo.
DK Metcalf?
No.
No, he's not.
No.
Terry McLaurin?
Yes, Amon-Ra is better.
No, I think Terry's better.
Are you serious?
Amon-Ra's better.
Come on.
I might be with Jack on this one.
He's a slot receiver. He's the best slot receiver in the NFL, but there's a ceiling as a slot receiver.
His ceiling's a wide receiver one. That's why we're talking about him compared to all the wide receivers.
I don't think he could be the best receiver on a Super Bowl winning team.
Devontae Smith?
No, Devontae Smith is better.
No, Devontae Smith is better.
Devontae Smith is better.
CeeDee Lamb?
CeeDee's better.
CD is better.
CeeDee's better.
Garrett Wilson?
Call me crazy. Garrett Wilson's better.
I'm not going to call you crazy. I am going to lean Amon-Ra for right now.
No, you're absolutely crazy. Definitely Amon-Ra.
T. Higgins?
If you put T. Higgins on the Lions, he's the alpha.
Amari Cooper?
Amari's better. He's been consistently good for so long.
Why are you hyping up washed up fantasy wide receivers?
He's not washed
All
up.
right.
He's
I don't
every
care.
single year.
Both Terry and Amari are the same type of wide receiver, and they're both worse than Amon-Ra St. Brown right now. I don't
Amari
know.
Cooper is not consistent as a fantasy.
Oh my God.
NFL wide receiver. We're not talking about fantasy football here.
You're talking like we're playing fantasy in 2019. Get with the times. It's 2023. Amon-Ra St. Brown, both in real life and in fantasy, is a better option.
Just for the record, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 1,161 yards, 6 touchdowns. Amari Cooper, 1,160 yards and 9 touchdowns.
Thank you.
Okay. So obviously this is from a year ago.
Yeah.
So this is before his breakout season. But
That really aged well for those guys, huh?
and I don't want to put these. I hate like blasting people for their old takes. But the thing that I want to just take away the curly hair guy. I'm sure they're all cool guys. They seem like pretty chill. That dude is Sam Flannel. All right, that guy is Sam Flannel to a T.
Shout out Flannel, dude.
I love Flannel, but he had some flannel-ish to him. Like look at the numbers. Nope. Look at the numbers.
Yeah.
And
I didn't.
That's why numbers, man. They can get you. They can get you.
And don't get me wrong, I would take Amon-Ra over Amari Cooper 7 days out of the week, but they were disrespecting Amari Cooper. That was disgusting to listen to.
I don't think it was disrespect. I would take Amon-Ra St. Brown over Amari Cooper every day.
I would. But the reason they were saying like Amari Cooper isn't consistent, he was acting like Amari Cooper's washed. You're talking about being a fantasy wide receiver. I'm like, bro, if you watch Amari Cooper play like that, if you watch him even this year with Joe Flacco, that man was a problem.
I mean, that was the best year of his
never
career, though.
Dude, Amari Cooper has pretty much had quarterback hell. His best quarterback is probably Derek Carr with the Raiders.
Hey, he's a great route runner.
A guy that produces.
He's a great route runner and a great wide
Cowboys,
receiver. He just
too. I
hasn't
forgot
put the numbers up. He's never had like insane numbers. Amari Cooper hasn't.
Amari Cooper's a dog.
Oh, he might be a dog. That's fine. You could be a dog and not put numbers up. He just never has put numbers up. Like he's had 1,000 yards like 6 times for sure. His best year is like not even close. Like Amon-Ra's second.
That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is like they were acting like Amari Cooper was
like a bum.
Josh Palmer or something.
He's not a bum, but whatever. I don't want to get into Amari Cooper versus Amon-Ra here. We're not getting into that.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. No,
and also Amari Cooper. To be fair, in Dallas, I do remember that. I don't know if it was his first year, or second, whatever it was, but that was a real thing where he would have like 100 yards, and the next week have like 2 catches for 20 yards. I don't know if that was like that could be also game plan. That could be also Dak. But I think I know where that narrative is coming from. As at the time with Dallas, it was like he was hot, he was cold, he was hot, he was cold, he was hot. And that could again not all be on.
If you're a dog though, like if you're a dog, you figure it out. Like that's just the end of the story. Like whether you have a great quarterback or a bad quarterback, like your career is going to be judged on the numbers you put up and what you do. Not like you can run a great route. Like maybe we could say you're a great wide receiver that never put the numbers up. You could be a dog, but Hall of Fame, you don't get in the Hall of Fame for just being like, hey, he's a great route runner. That man was a
you had to a Hall of Famer here.
Games in the Hall of Fame. Like
we're
you
not
don't just get to be in the Hall of Fame because you run a nice crisp route. No, you have to put numbers up.
No, but the man's gonna go over 10,000 yards in his career. Like the man was a great NFL wide receiver. He's well worth the first round pick. He has great hands, great route running. It's just he's never been in a great situation.
I think there's just one player that's on track to make the Hall of Fame, and there's one that Amari Cooper who most likely won't.
Yeah, that's fine. We're agreeing. We're agreeing, Boone.
All right, can I break down this video?
No, go on. Yeah, go on.
I just want to talk about this video because I did write some notes down because I just want to and I know it was a year ago, but we could talk about how this video aged very, very poorly because I just look at Amon-Ra year 2 and year 3. Like year 2, if you look at the stats in the NFL, he was 6 in receptions, and this is just year 2. So this is after this happened like when the video was made. 6 in receptions, 11th in yards, and 9th in yards after catch. So he was essentially top 10 in a lot of these categories already after year 2. And then he comes into year 3 and he's 3rd in the NFL in yards, 4th in touchdowns, 2nd in receptions, 2nd in yards after catch. He is top 5 in every single wide receiver category, essentially. Top 5 in all of them. I went back and looked, boys. Out of all the receivers they named, Debo, DK, Terry, Devontae Smith, CD, Garrett Wilson, Amari Cooper, T. Higgins. Out of how many did I name? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9. Guess how many of those receivers in the last 5 seasons? I gave them 2 extra seasons over Amon-Ra St. Brown and added Amon-Ra's rookie year in there. Guess how many times all of those receivers has been in the top 5 in one of those categories?
How many?
Combined, all 8 of these guys.
I'm thinking probably
5 years.
CD's probably the only one. And then who else? Because I couldn't think they didn't name like a Justin Jefferson or Devontae Adams. So I'm guessing it was just CD. And then
4.
Garrett Wilson hasn't been yet.
4 total times. Amon-Ra did it 4 times. And just this season, he had it 4 times in the top 5 out of the wide receiver categories. Those guys, 4 total out of those 8 or 9 guys in 5 years. And I just counted Amon-Ra's 1 year this year. And we it's unbelievable. Like that video aged extremely poorly. And like I went through and looked at all of these guys' best seasons. None of these guys' best season outside of CD Lamb compares to Amon-Ra's year 2 or year 3. Like they're on the same level as his second year, all of them. Maybe now, Debo, the 1,700 yard year that he had combined. Maybe Debo. DK.
Boys, hear me out here. Or my bad, but I thought you were done.
I'm hearing you out.
We're hearing you out.
Here, and this is me thinking out loud before Boone. I know you're going to get upset with this, but there's one wide receiver that I really don't know how to grade here because if he hits his ceiling, he's definitely going to be better than Amon-Ra, and it's just because he's a fucking talent of a lifetime, and it's Garrett Wilson. So when you look at Garrett Wilson, and I'm not saying right now, I'm saying down the road, are you willing to write Garrett Wilson being better than Amon-Ra right now? Because Garrett Wilson in 2 or 3 years, if he leaves New York and goes somewhere else, that dude's going to be a menace. That's where right now Amon-Ra, but I can see Garrett Wilson being better than Amon-Ra.
I don't know if he'll be better. I said on Friday when we did our over-unders, Garrett Wilson was like 1,000 and like 1,100 or 1,200, and I said his over. I think this year's like a breakout year for him. And I said this year, I wouldn't be shocked if he went out there and got 1,400 yards this year. Like, and he just had a huge year with Aaron Rodgers. I just don't know though. Like, they could probably be the same player. Like Amon-Ra's top 5 in the NFL. So Garrett, like, what do you want Garrett Wilson to be the number 1 in the entire NFL?
Well, that's where it's like, okay,
that's
I think
how you
both
get
of them
better than him.
I agree to your point. Both of them can be top 5 in production, but there's one guy that I think has a higher ceiling, and it's not knocking Amon-Ra, but it's like when you have similar production, one player is more talented, which if Garrett Wilson does, I think I'd just have to by default lean Garrett Wilson just because he is the more talented player. Again, that doesn't make Amon-Ra not great. But again, there's Jamar Chases, there's Justin Jefferson. I think Garrett Wilson can be to that tier if he reaches that ceiling.
How do you like what goes into that when you say ceiling? Like I'm genuinely curious. Is it
so?
What do
Garrett
you
Wilson? Garrett Wilson by far is a better route runner. I think he is better at contested catches. I think he's more explosive, and I just think he's more polished a wide receiver. I think Garrett Wilson's like just one of those guys that was put on this earth to play wide receiver just because how natural he is. I think there's a lot of like, you even just look at the Ohio State wide receivers. I think there's a lot of those guys that are like that. And Garrett Wilson, in my opinion, is probably besides Marvin Harrison, the best one I've seen there. And I just think there's something about that is when you're talking about plays that just happen, like when there's a tough catch and you can put your feet down, like the feet placement on the sideline. I just think there's plays that Garrett Wilson will be able to make that lead to more big impact plays than Amon-Ra. And that's not saying that Amon-Ra
there's
can't
things
do
Amon-Ra, like yards
Exactly.
after a catch and with the ball that Garrett Wilson isn't even close as good at as well.
I
think it goes both ways.
That's where if like you even look at Garrett Wilson, his rookie year, like he was doing crazy things after the catch. It's just he's had Tim Boyle throwing him the ball for 2 years. And I know it's Zach Wilson too, but he's just been in quarterback.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree that he can do that, but I don't think like you basically are saying like everything. Like Garrett Wilson does everything better than Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I just don't think that's true.
I think on an intangible level, I think Amon-Ra probably has a little bit more consistent hands and he's stronger. But Garrett Wilson, when you talk about like the catches that you're just like, wow, Amon-Ra has those, but I think Garrett Wilson can do that more consistently.
So if you're going off projection, you can try and argue. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown, that's where it's hard because when you look at wide receivers, although some guys don't wow you, you just have to acknowledge how good they are. Like that's where I think we're heading, to be honest. With I know ETN brought him up, like Puka. Like Puka, he maybe doesn't have things that wow you, but eventually, if he keeps putting up that type of production and getting open, it's like, okay, he's one of the best. Like that's why I asked you with the ceiling thing. I would probably stick with Amon-Ra St. Brown personally. I would stick with him, but I get your point. He was coming out of college. He was a better talent. So I get it. I would still lean Amon-Ra.
I'm not taking Garrett Wilson. Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying to what we were saying earlier, Booner. Like if he does that for like 2 years, then it's like, okay, I just want to have the conversation down the road. If it's some people I think look at Garrett Wilson like, but if you
I disagree. I think people look at Garrett Wilson. Like we had the conversation Friday. I think people look at Garrett Wilson and say, hey, this guy could be extremely good in the NFL if he has the right pieces around him, like Aaron Rodgers this year. Like we made the projection Friday. I said he's going to have 1,400 to 1,500 yards. So I think he has the potential that Amon-Ra. But like, even if you look, I know he had a bad quarterback last year, but like if you just look at their stats, like, yeah, you could say quarterback, but like yards after catches, that's not a quarterback stat. Is it? Like maybe getting put in the right positions and having pieces around you. But Amon-Ra basically 670, Garrett Wilson 300. So like, and they had Garrett Wilson had 168 targets and Amon-Ra had 164. So it's not like the opportunities weren't there, but Amon-Ra just right now is just a better player at the moment, and he's going to go out there and make the plays. He's going to make the catches. He's going to make the play after the catch. And like you could like, you can see spurts from Garrett Wilson. That doesn't always mean a player is going to like go out there and do that. Like there's so many players who like you see the spurts out of. Quintez Cephas saw that nice spurt of that catch there.
Don't compare that man.
No, I'm just saying, hey, you saw that beautiful catch up there. That really gave you, look what he could do. He's going to be something.
We're not pushing that narrative on me.
No, well, but I don't know. And I think it's an interesting thing. It is.
Into this, Kryptonic TV. How about Garrett Wilson actually put up better stats than Amon-Ra before you say he's more talented? It's nonsense. This is where we get into, okay, so by that metric, you think CeeDee Lamb's better than Amon-Ra, right? Like, but I'm assuming this comic, if it's a consistent line of thinking, see, I would disagree. But again, there's that where it comes into, it's like stats versus what you see, and I think you have to factor in stats, but stats don't tell the full story. Like you brought up the targets. True. But I'll also admit Amon-Ra's had Jared Goff, which actually helps
For
him,
sure.
You know? So
But
like,
then yards after catch, like you could still look at that and say, okay, what's like
True.
that's
Well,
that's
where
a
it's
stat.
like,
That's
well,
a stat when
to-
you get the ball,
to that
ball's in your
point-
hand, make a play.
Well, to that point, if what Jared Goff is very good at doing, especially like what I think benefited LaPorta the most, is he hits the guys right here. They don't really have to adjust. Now, obviously, he doesn't do it every time, but Goff is really good at putting guys in a position to make a play after the catch.
Oh,
Garrett
so-
Wilson, half the time, and he's got to adjust. And I just think there's no consistency. He's playing with 4 or 5 quarterbacks. He has no rhythm with any of those quarterbacks.
who
that
would
he's
you guys
playing with.
take over Amon-Ra? Only in the NFL. Who is the only receiver you would take over?
We're gonna have to have an uncomfortable conversation here, but I'm willing to eat the smoke.
Well, hold on. You know what? I'm gonna put this graphic up. We're gonna react to it, and then we're gonna give our
Okay.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
Before we move on to the
Go
next graphic, I just want to throw this out there. I have a weird thinking, like when we're talking about like the ceiling, Klotzy, with Garrett Wilson and Amon-Ra. I have a weird like thought in my head to where I think Amon-Ra, like, you could say potentially, like, I remember I said he can win Offensive Player of the Year. There's a chance, but I still think like Justin Jefferson is like that different level to where he's like one of the greatest ever, like a Kelvin Johnson type player. I think like it's hard. Like I think Garrett Wilson and Amon-Ra, you could say like they have that ceiling is the same because they're both potential top 5, top 3 wide receivers in the NFL. I just think like to get higher than that ceiling, that means you have to be a Justin Jefferson or a Kelvin Johnson or a Randy Moss. Like you have to be that. Marvin, like potentially, but no, I'm not going to even put Marvin Harrison there yet because with my mindset, it's you cannot predict. Maybe if you're like a Marvin Harrison, but you can't be like, oh, Garrett Wilson's going to be that one day because no one knows who those guys are until they go out there and put those numbers up and prove it. Like you never know. No one knows. Like it's the same thing with quarterback. Like you draft a guy number 1 overall and you think, oh, he's about to be the next Peyton Manning. Trevor Lawrence, great example. Guess what he does? How was he that last year, fellas? Do you guys see my thinking on that though? I don't know if that's a weird way to think.
Real quick,
that's just the Booner brain work.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Because I think I get that. The reason why I would push back slightly is kind of like me with Caleb. We are in the take business. Like you got to like Nick.
I'm not even talking about the take stuff. I'm just saying pure football. Look at it. You can't predict it.
But we talk football, so like technically, yeah. I mean, we're gonna like Nick Wright. He always has Caleb in his like top 7 quarterbacks, which I disagree with. But the reason he does that is because if Caleb plays well, he's gonna sit up there and be like, I told y'all, you know. But you can't be like Nick. You can't do that because he hasn't proven it. Like. So I get it, but I also
I think just that next level tier though, because the Amon-Ra thing, I think like he's hit that ceiling. He hasn't hit the ceiling, but his ceiling is like, can he be like that Hall of like the Randy Moss type where he's that's where I'm kind of going at it about, and that's the same where I think him and Garrett Wilson they're have the same ceiling to where it's like the 2nd or 3rd best wide receiver in the NFL, like the potentially in their best seasons. So I think it's just hard to be like, oh, that guy's gonna be better than him when it's like they have the same ceiling. Like they're not going to be Kelvin Johnson, neither of them.
I mean, yeah, they're not built like it, but I think Garrett Wilson's a guy that can be a lot like Steve Smith. And Steve Smith, that man was a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. He's a dog. I think Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
There's just
I don't know if I
either way, we don't got to get on there. We don't got.
You did.
That was just my brain. That's the way my brain works. That
you
wasn't
have to
even
put
a
some
take.
respect on guys, Boone. To your point, like you got to respect the dude's work, like what he's done. I get that, like
because no one could sit there and be like, "Oh, this guy's going to be this." Like some of these Hall of Famers right now, like who are all-time greats. Like there's some of those guys who came in. Patrick Mahomes. No one was like, "Oh, Patrick Mahomes is going to be Patrick Mahomes." Tom Brady. No, Tom Brady was going to be Tom Brady. No one knew until he starts playing. You're like, "That's a dude." That right there. That dude's ceiling's all-time great. You don't know that with these guys until they actually like get into that element. Then there's the
people that maybe saw him.
You can't say that about Garrett Wilson until he gets in the element with Aaron Rodgers.
Here's my thing, Boone. Like, and we'll use like Josh Allen. Like that Josh Allen game. I was a big Josh Allen fan coming out of college and like early on. I'm still a Josh Allen fan. We just get into it a lot. But that game against Minnesota that he had, you could be like, you saw him throw bombs to, I think Charles Clay might have been his tight end. I don't even remember who the fuck his tight end was. You saw him hurdle a guy and he put a team that was supposed to get blown out that game on his back and he won a game. And you could say like that was the moment where I was like, Josh Allen's going to be different. He's going to be a good quarterback. But then he had 5 bad games after that. But it's like when you see that and you see the tools that some player have, and you're like, okay, if they have a formidable front office with the Bills got when they traded for Stephon Diggs, you're like, okay, this guy is a dude. And I think you can do that with people that are like Garrett Wilson, where it's like they're young. They're projects, but they're one piece away from being an all-pro. And that's where I kind of stand with it.
Well, I mean,
all pro.
Either way, we've been on Garrett Wilson for too long.
well,
The ceiling part with the Garrett Wilson, like his ceiling is all pro. So is Amon-Ra because he just got it. So I think they have the same ceiling. I think they both can be.
I mean,
best
look at
in the
this.
league.
This is a pretty impressive feat. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown all-time rank among wide receivers in his first 3 seasons. 315 catches, was ranked 3rd all-time. A little over 3,500 yards, which ranks 8th all-time in their first 3 seasons, and 21 touchdowns, which ranks 15th all-time. So that's his first. Shout out to Adam, by the way, for the graphics. Very good graphic.
Shout out.
The touchdowns, yeah, he's 15th, but yards and catches are probably, I mean, he's 3rd all-time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just. And there's the thing I want to clear up. And this is what I see a lot with Amon-Ra St. Brown, and it's usually something that other fan bases throw at the Lions, and that is he's a slot merchant, which that is something you say when you really don't watch the Lions, because Amon-Ra St. Brown lines up everywhere. He does line up in the slot, don't get me wrong, but there's you can go look it up. It's on the internet. Amon-Ra St. Brown, his route tree, or where he catches the ball. I think PFF has areas of the field he's graded in each area. In all areas, he's highly graded. It's not like it's not just playing in the slot in 15 or 10 to 15 yard passes, 5-yard, 10-yard passes. He excels in. Like, yeah, he's not he's not a guy who like JMO is going to take the top off all the time, but that's where the yards after catch comes in, and the guy just gets open. Like, I think he needs to be respected more, as a more all-around receiver. Not as much, like I said, he's not taking the top off consistently every single play. But there's receivers that have thrived in the NFL being called playing in the slot. Like Cooper Kupp was a Triple Crown winner, played in the slot. Like I just don't like that narrative, the slot merchant stuff. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
when he's lining up out wide, it's like, what are we doing here? He does play in the slot, but he's.
Do you want to give me I can give you the snaps here.
Oh, you have them?
So in the slot, so he played in over 1,200 snaps this last season, including the playoffs. In the slot, he lined up in the slot 587 times, and he lined up wide 592 times. So he was in the slot less than he was lined up outside. That's per PFF.
Boone, are you able to see like his route tree too?
I don't see that on PFF.
Okay.
No, I can't. But that's just snap count lined up, like where he's lined up in his snap count. So obviously some might be they put him out wide, just like maybe a run play or something to, I don't know, as a decoy or something. But like there's different, but that shows right there, like he is everywhere. I do think there are people who, like in that video, like, oh, he's just a slot merchant. Amon-Ra St. Brown does everything for this football team. Like, you could say he's wide receiver 1. He can do anything. Like, the fact people won't put him up against like the CeeDee Lambs and the Jamar Chases and those, I think is a little disrespectful, because now, like after year 2, you could argue, like if you watched his games, you could be like, that's going to be a dude. Like, he's a dude. But then it's like, okay, maybe he didn't have the numbers yet. After this year, I don't think there's a question that you could say he's not up there with those names. Like if you did a tier and the wide receiver, like there's going to be a point, like you're going to have to start moving these tiers around. Like the NFL evolves, fellas. Like guys are going to fall off that list. Guys are going to move into that list. Guess what? After this year, Amon-Ra St. Brown just became, in my opinion, a tier 1. And if you want to go like 1A, 1B with like the Justin Jefferson, but I think you put Amon-Ra up there with the Tyreek Hills and the Jamar Chases and the CeeDee Lambs and those guys. And you can go tier 1, tier 2, and you can adjust how you feel. But again, if I did my top 10 wide receiver list right now, Amon-Ra St. Brown's in my top 5, and I will not take him out. He is a top 5. So
who would you take? So give me who would you have in front of him?
Justin Jefferson. I think Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the NFL. I probably would go number 2, Tyreek Hill. I don't want to miss anyone here. Tyreek Hill number 2. I probably then, honestly, I think you can make an argument putting Amon-Ra 3 and then like a CeeDee Lamb, depending if you want CeeDee or Amon-Ra. And then after that, like an AJ Brown, Jamar Chase.
What about Devontae?
Oh, Devontae. What did he do this last year though? Because
that's the one that's
this last year. And remember last year, I wasn't on Devontae. That was Lukas.
Yeah.
I was on Justin Jefferson. I still think this year Devontae was like, you could be like, oh wow, Devontae. And he didn't have a quarterback. Didn't have a quarterback.
No, he did
He
not.
could have had 250 yards against the Lions. He put Cam
Didn't have a
Sutton in a
quarterback.
blender.
But I'm talking about what based off what guys did last year. If I'm going off based off what guys did last year, Amon-Ra would be number 3. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go 3, and then I'm gonna go CeeDee Lamb. That's just gonna be a biased Booner there.
Okay.
But I'd go Tyreek Hill 2 and Justin Jefferson 1. That's how I would do it.
So actually, Lucas, you go. I'll go
We
last.
should just do our
All
top
right.
10 later because I would have actually
I
thought
might
about
ruffle
this.
Boone's
if we were doing
feathers
top
here.
10.
But all right, so in order, this
And
is
you didn't-
probably how I.
He didn't
This
name
is how
Jamar
I.
Chase either, by the way, but continue.
I'm gonna go Justin Jefferson number 1, Tyreek Hill 2, Devontae Adams 3, CeeDee Lamb 4, Jamar Chase 5, AJ Brown 6, Amon-Ra 7. And Boone, you're feel free to flame me, but that's just my preference.
So I'll go.
He said preference, people.
I'll
He
go,
said preference.
well,
He's not doing actual top. That's
So-
just preference.
That like if I were to, those are my top 7.
I look
wide
at the
receivers.
stats. I look at what guys did last year. I don't go off preference.
So I'm going to go Justin Jefferson 1, Tyreek Hill 2. I'm going Devontae Adams 3.
Okay.
I'm going to go Jamar Chase 4.
Wow.
And I'm going to go Amon-Ra St. Brown 5.
Jeff, Tyreek Hill not in there. Did you go Tyreek?
Yeah.
Okay. For a second, you had me for a second.
Yeah. I don't have in my top 5. And Lucas had AJ Brown and CeeDee Lamb. I have those guys right behind Amon-Ra. I think so. That I think AJ, CD, and Amon-Ra are kind of in that, like, you could debate it, but I don't really think you can debate, in my opinion, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek, Devontae, and Jamar.
I mean,
like,
what do
guys.
we? No, like Devontae Adams. Okay, I was a Devontae Adams fan last year. I had him at number 2. Like, some of these guys don't have, like, Justin Jefferson had Nick Mullins as his quarterback before he got hurt and still put up numbers. If you're a top 3 wide receiver like you guys think he is, he would still put up numbers with whoever. I don't care what we're talking about here. Like, if you're going to sit there and have the argument, like, we're talking about last year. Like, yeah, the year before, Devontae Adams. Put him with a good quarterback. Yeah, this year, he's probably going to have a good year. But, like, dude, you're just going to discredit everyone's seasons last year and say, oh, no, Devontae Adams. Like, I'm a Devontae Adams fan.
Okay, then you know what?
I'll throw him
Lukas should be in your top 5.
Yeah, no, I don't agree.
You going to discredit what he did last season?
I think he's like right outside the top 5. He's top 10 for me.
So you're discrediting what he did.
I just think it's crazy. Like you guys, to a point, you're going to say, well, Justin Jefferson played with Nick Mullins and still put numbers up, but Devontae Adams didn't put the numbers up because he didn't have a quarterback.
Aiden O'Connell.
And there's difference. Like the man
And Nick Mullins played for the Vikings.
He had Josh McDaniels as his head coach week 1. They had another head coach there. Derek Carr gone. Like, everything that he went there for was just absolutely pulled out under the rug. And if you watch him, like, he was getting double teamed. That's why Jacoby Myers was going off. Like, we're like, oh, Jacoby Myers for like 2 years didn't score a single touchdown in New England. He goes and plays against on the other side of Devontae Adams. He's getting a touchdown every week. So it's like, I understand you can look at production, but that's where me personally, I'll pull away every time. And where you can go down the road with AJ Brown, and if you want to Jamar Chase, that's fine. The reason I'm going to pick him over it is
I'll say Devontae in my top 5.
I think the reason why I pull against it and why people say the slot narrative, in my opinion, is because what Amon-Ra does not do consistently, and it's not saying that he's bad, is he does not stretch the field to the outside on the perimeter deep. Which is very important, especially when you're talking about in fourth quarters and when you need to put up points quick. Not saying Amon-Ra can't do that. Amon-Ra does that with his yak. But there's some guys that can just go up and fucking get one. There's some guys like AJ Brown that can just go on a double team and just go and pluck over a 50-yard touchdown. And that's the reason I would take them over Amon-Ra. That does not make Amon-Ra bad. That does not make Amon-Ra not an all-pro wide receiver. But I just think those things in the NFL today are very important, especially with a guy like AJ Brown, who's physical, who's also very good after the catch. He does a lot of things that Amon-Ra can do and some things that Amon-Ra can't.
I think Amon-Ra makes up for that with his reliability. And I don't think run blocking should be factored personally, but we could throw it in there if you want to sprinkle it. That's fine. He's better at that than a lot of receivers. But I think
I don't know if you're gonna have a list right now without Amon-Ra in your top 5, like at least 5th. I don't see how that's.
Yeah, and I had him at 5.
I'll switch my list up and I will throw Devontae because I did last year, even Devontae off a bad. Like I did have Devontae in my top 3, so I do have to stay consistent. So I will backpedal that one. But there's zero chance you're going to get me to take Amon-Ra St. Brown off my top 5 list. Zero chance. And I'll throw Jamar Chase in my top 5 as well. That'll be my top 5. It'll be like Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Devontae, Jamar, and Amon-Ra. Like those would be the 5 best wide receivers in the NFL right now. And then if you want to go AJ Brown after that, okay. If you want to go CeeDee Lamb as well, you can make that argument too, because obviously he had a big year. Puka Nacua, you can do that. They're to kind of round out the top 10.
I think you can argue that 5th spot. I think the 4 in front of it,
Yeah.
nothing's getting argued.
You can arrange the 4 differently.
Yeah, but they're in there. 5th,
Yeah.
like I don't think Lukas, because like when he says what'd you have him at 6 or 7?
I had him at 7.
When you say that, it's like, but he could go from, it's really like 5 to 7. Like I don't think that it's like he's in that range. You know, if you say that, it sounds better than he's at 6. But I get what you're saying. I don't hate that. AJ, if you like AJ, okay, cool. Like I'm not, I disagree.
What did you have Amon-Ra?
I had
me or him?
Who are you talking to?
Klotz.
I had I think it was 7. I went Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, Amon-Ra. So it'd be 7. And there's some that and before this year, I would have put Amon-Ra in front of CeeDee, but I just think it's hard to argue CeeDee in front of behind Amon-Ra after last year.
Well, even Jeff right here, ASB 5 to 7 is fair depending on what you value. I think that's like for me, Lukas, you just listed out what you look for in a receiver. Like I'm looking at Amon-Ra and I like what he brings. Like I would take him knowing he's going to block his ass off and he's never dropping passes and he's still he's a yak king. Can he win on the outside like AJ or CeeDee to that consistency? No, I'm not going to sit here and argue that. But I mean, hey, speaking of some of these players, I saw something that Jeff Risdon put out on LionsWire.USA today. And it was ranking tight ends in the NFL. And I want to show you guys where he has Sam LaPorta on this list. And we'll discuss him and kind of talk about his upcoming season, where you think he can get to. Because I saw some, and I love Jeff. We're going to actually have him on this week. So I will ask him about this list. I think it'd be a good conversation. But no, it's not. It was Texans Wire ranked the 32 top individual tight ends in the league. So Texans Wire.
He just reported on it?
Yes. So I don't want to get Jeff in that predicament. He's cool.
That was a close one, Jeff. You almost did your other Jeff dirty.
Texans Wire ranked the tight ends. Jeff shared it with Lions fans. So let's show
Lock
the
in,
list.
brother. Come on.
Let's show the list. And I don't know with some of these, man. All right, let's just show it. You people.
Is this in order? Because when I read it, I couldn't tell if this was in order or if they just put the top 32.
I think it is in order.
Okay.
I want to say he said top 32. We
Is
can
he a
honestly have
wild?
our own conversation. Who would you take in front of him? Let's have the same thing. Real quick, we got a $2 donation from 501st Legion. Why isn't Chris Olave top 5? I'm assuming you're joking. But Chris Olave, he's a good receiver. He's not top 5 though. But appreciate the $2 though. We appreciate you, my man. All right, let's get to this list. So the first tight end, easily. I mean, it's not even really a debate. It's the GOAT, in my opinion. Travis Kelce, George Kittle. Got to interest you? You know, little George Kittle action. Okay, that's fine. Mark Andrews, T.J. Hockenson. And I want to start. We'll start with Travis Kelce. Is he better than Sam LaPorta? And we'll keep going
He's the
down.
best tight end of all time. Yes.
Okay. What about George Kittle?
Yes.
Right now, yes. You consistently has been his career. The Sam LaPorta thing, you just need to get more years under his belt.
Mm-hmm.
So far, we have 2 tight ends.
Yep.
Mark Andrews.
That's where I pull away. I'm going to go LaPorta.
I think I'm with Klotzy. I think if I did my rankings right now, I think I'd put LaPorta personally. I'll put him 3rd in the NFL.
If Andrews could have stayed healthy this whole year, I could hear you out. But I think intangibles wise, like LaPorta kills Mark Andrews.
Yeah. Damn. I love Mark Andrews. I mean, the dude had a 1,300-yard season as a tight end, but that was also 2 years ago.
2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just saying. I'm just giving him some love here. I'm still gonna go Sam LaPorta. I'm with you guys, but Mark Andrews he's a dog. All right, let's keep it going. What's up?
I want to do some math real quick.
TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah, I'm gonna go LaPorta. It's close though. I think Hawkinson's closer than Mark Andrews is.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I'm gonna go LaPorta too, but TJ is much closer. I think he's a more. I think in terms of actually being a receiving tight end, Hawkinson's better than Andrews.
I think Hawkinson would be my fourth best wide. If I'm doing a rankings, I think he'd be fourth on my list of tight ends in the NFL right now. It'd be LaPorta and then Hawkinson, and then it would probably be Mark Andrews.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. Well, the next one, Dallas Goedert. Yeah,
I mean he's above him. This is embarrassing. This whole list at this point.
I love
David
me some
Njoku.
Dallas Goedert, but
I like Dallas Goedert, but like he's not in this too. I'm a David Njoku guy. He was on my fantasy team for 2 years, but he is not better than Sam LaPorta.
And then Sammy LaPorta.
I'm imagining that this is in order.
Yeah, because they started with Kelsey
and Kittle.
And Kittle. It looks like it is in order. Are you Joe? Are we? What are we?
They
doing
have him
here?
7th, and he should be third.
Njoku's wild. Yeah, that one's egregious. That one is egregious. That man, this was his first good year, and shocker, it's in a contract year. Who would have thought?
Njoku?
I mean, that's basically Eric Ebron 2.0.
That's crazy. That is
nuts.
No way, no how.
Yeah,
I mean, Sam LaPorta in 1 year had a better year than he's ever had in his career in one season. With all of the weapons that you have on the Lions, and you still,
that man ain't blocking to save his life.
And same with Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert didn't have the year like even close to what.
Yeah,
Sam
he was
LaPorta
hurt
had.
though. But either way, like if he was healthy, I still would have taken LaPorta.
I mean, dude, he had 590 yards in 14 games. He only missed 3 games and only had 500 and something yards. So it wasn't even like he was close. He would have had to have over 100 and something yards every game to finish the season.
Njoku's, and I see Jeff in there. Njoku's a very, very good. Y'all are way sleeping on him. I think Njoku's good. You know, he's probably, he's top 10.
I would throw him in my top 10 after last year for sure.
He's top 10. But what are we doing here? What are we doing here? I think the only tight ends better than him are Travis Kelce, George Kittle.
That's it.
Yeah, I agree.
End of list.
I can hear you out on Hawkinson. If you want to like die in a hill, I'll hear you out. I'm not going to call you crazy. But after that, like Mark Andrews, especially after these injuries, there's no way Mark Andrews is. No way. The one that I'm surprised we didn't see on here is Dalton Kincaid. Because that man's
low
about
on
to have
the
a year
list.
in Buffalo.
He's
Probably gonna be their leading receiver, to be honest. He'll probably have 1,000 yards there.
Yeah, TJ says this is a 2-year-old fantasy football ranking where they had Schultz. Yeah, Schultz,
fine tight end.
nice. He's a very
Dalton
fine
Schultz, yeah, and he's there in Texas in Houston, so he has like him and CJ Stroud.
Yeah, he's good too.
You know who actually Trey McBride didn't realize quietly? I was doing some research a couple weeks ago, looking at some fantasy stuff. Trey McBride, like with not even what's his name last year, he was decent,
and he's athletic too. Like after the catch, Trey McBride, he's gonna be him, LaPorta, Kincaid. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that I'm missing that's like a young tight end, but those are gonna be like the guys.
Michael
for the next
Mayer?
4 or 5 years. No, Brock Bowers and
that's Brock Bowers.
Jake Ferguson, huh? What?
No, they always just have a system tight end that's not really good, not really bad, but just steady. And after Jake Ferguson, they'll have
Jake Ferg.
I love betting on Cowboys tight ends because they always get like 40 yards like on the dot, and their over-under is always like 25.5. But they always they always do.
I think Kincaid could go out and have like 1,000-yard season this year. That dude is a stud in that situation too.
They need him to have 1,000 yards. Like,
because they're going to be
down the stretch. Like when they started winning that went on that tear at the end there. I mean, it was a lot of Josh and Dalton Kincaid. That's why Stephon Diggs took such a step back, because Kincaid as a tight end, he's just so easy, especially in the red zone for Josh Allen to get the ball to. Like when he scrambles out, like he's still going to be close to him. He's not going to be running 20 yards down the field.
He makes some plays. He's like
he's a dog.
He is a receiver. Yeah, he's a receiver, dude. He's a stud. Yeah, no doubt. Well, AI, shout out to AI. AI predicts 2024-2025 Defensive Rookie of the Year belongs to Terrion Arnold. Ship it to his house. Get it over with. No, just AI predicts this. Huh?
Case closed.
Yeah. AI. I saw this, and Lions fans are sharing it, and I get it, and I think
It's interesting.
he will be one of the better defensive rookies. I think he'll be in this race. But man, he's got some good pass rushers to compete with, and a really good, potentially generational wide receiver.
And
no, that's offensive.
Whoa, chill. Because if you say generational wide receiver, then you're shooting down your guy, Caleb Williams. So relax on that.
I mean,
that's a whole. That's for you.
That's all right. That's offense. That's offense. Defense. But
I don't take you just had, Jeff. That's a good take. Good take you just had.
Latu verse. I hope
Dallas Turner.
If they're gonna give it to him, he's got to go out there and be sauce.
That's the thing is I went back and looked
in that year. He beat Aiden that year.
I went back and looked at DBs that have won the award, and just in the 2000s, Sauce Gardner in 22, Marshawn Lattimore in 2017, and Marcus Peters in 2015. The someone in the secondary to win it before Marcus Peters in 2015 was Charles Woodson in 98. Like that's how long it was. It was 17 years since someone on the a secondary player won Defensive Rookie of the Year, and you had 3 in the last. I guess like statistically, if we were speaking, you had 3 in the last 10 years. So like, there's a chance. Like it's been happening. It's been happening.
Yeah, I thought you're an odds guy. I don't like those.
I mean, but here's the thing: when you talk about Marcus Peters in LA, who did he have there? Aqib Talib. And I'm saying this is the path that would have to align. He had Marcus Peters had Aqib Talib, and then Sauce Gardner has DJ Reed, and then who was the other one, Boone? And we said
Marshawn Lattimore.
Sorry.
I'm
trying to think. Yeah. They did have corners there, but that was more so just that defense was nasty, and Marshawn just did have a really good year, and I think that just defensively was a weak class. But CJ Gardner-Johnson was there too. But the Lions, they need Carlton Davis to go out there and be like a CB1 for Terrion Arnold, in my opinion, to go out and win Defensive Rookie of the Year, because for Terrion to do that, he's going to have production. Marcus Peters with pick sixes, especially his first couple years, was going crazy. So for that to happen, Carlton Davis has got to be locking down one side, and Terrion just got to be an absolute playmaker on the other side. I don't think it's going to happen. Doesn't mean he's going to be bad, but transitioning in the NFL as a corner is something that even like Darrelle Revis, one of the best, Champ Bailey, you can get Aqib Talib, Joe Hayden, like those guys, Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson had a great rookie year. Still didn't win Defensive Rookie of the Year. It's just hard.
So Marcus Peters, his rookie year, he had 8 interceptions and 2 touchdowns. So that's the year that he had.
And he had Aaron Donald in front of him.
No,
yeah, he would have.
He was in Kansas. He was in Kansas City for his rookie year.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. You're right. So who did they have?
I'm not sure.
But
just looking at it, like 8 interceptions, and then the following year 6 interceptions. Like he had his best career year. He had 8 interceptions his rookie year.
Sean Smith. That was the guy on the other side of him. Sean Smith.
I do think there is an argument to be made. There is an argument to be made with Terrion Arnold, to where like he is coming in with Carlton Davis on the other side. He's got Kirby and Iffy and Brian Branch behind him. Like there's an argument to be made that he's going to have opportunities to make plays. He's going to be on a good secondary. And usually like to Klotz, your point, like you were saying, like Marcus Peters, like even if he was with Talib and Aaron Donald, like you're on a good defense, that elevates your play that much more. So, like, if Terrion Arnold goes out there, he's surrounded by just all dogs and goes out there and gets 4 or 5 interceptions in his rookie year. You have to have the conversation, especially that DBs have won it the last 10 years. You have to have that conversation like, hey, if he goes out there and gets 5 interceptions this year and he's on a defense that's going to go to the Super Bowl and he's dominated on that defense and he's been one of their best secondary players, he's going to be Defensive Rookie of the Year. So, like, I don't think it's, like, that crazy. Like, I get the Latu and all of those guys, but the difference between Latu and Jared Verse and those guys, like the Lions potentially could have one of the best secondaries in the entire league this year with what they just did and revamped it. And they could have we're talking about them taking a top 10 defensive jump, and we're talking about them going to a Super Bowl. And if you put all that together, Terrion's got to be a big piece of that. And if he goes out there and he's that confidence that we keep seeing and he gets 5 interceptions this year, I know that's crazy. That might not. That's tough. But if he does
mean,
it, he's in that conversation instantly, and he might be the leader in the clubhouse at that point.
If he's going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, Latu has to be underwhelming. Jared Verse has to be underwhelming, or at least good, not great. If they come out and have like 5-6 sacks each, and then he's also going to need he's going to need this too. Because even let's say they do play really well, because it's like Sauce Gardner, Aiden Hutchinson had a great rookie year, but he still lost because of how great he was. And if Terrion comes out and is very, very good, well, look what Sauce had with the New York Jets. I mean, he needs this defensive line to show up and show out. Like, he needs some help. Like, these guys got to get after the quarterback. So he also needs that. It can't just be all on, Terrion Arnold and Dallas Turner. I mean, these guys, he's got a lot of good edges. The pathway is him being elite in his defensive line, helping him out, in which I think they will be better this year. But he's going to need some help, man.
If he was to win it in any year and have a really good chance, probably the year that the first defensive player was off the board at 16th or 15th.
But I don't think that changes how good they are.
I don't. It might not, and they could become great players. But like, there wasn't an edge in this class that was a solidified top. And I know it depended. Like, there was teams that needed quarterbacks, there was teams that needed receivers. But if there was like an edge that was like, he is generational, he is the next dude, someone would have found a way to get him in the top 10. No one would have fallen. That would not have happened in any draft. I'm not. You know that.
Yeah,
if there was a guy that was like, he's going to be defensive player of the year, he's the best ever, they would have found a way to take it.
You think that kind of falls with Terrion, though? Because the same thing could be said with corner. Because I think even where Terrion's really going to have to separate, and especially because I know we kind of laugh at it now, but even Quinyon, because Jeff, to your point about the front sevens, like the Eagles front seven is going to be nasty. Vic Fangio is going to make a huge difference. And I know Darius Slay had a down year last year, but I think Darius Slay is still not a slouch in the NFL, and he's going to give Quinyon a lot to learn from. So I could see CJ Gardner-Johnson's back there, Reed Blankenship's okay. He's a very solid safety, so he's got a good situation going on as well. So I think he's going to have to really pull away from Quinyon, which I think he can too. I was the one saying, like, I think Terrion's going to be the better corner than Quinyon, and obviously it didn't show in the draft, but I think as it plays out, he will be. But for him to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, he's got to separate himself.
I just think that with this year, the way the defensive – go ahead.
My bad. I was just saying, kind of like how
we all went.
Sauce Gardner and Tariq, like Tariq Woolen, you could see, like, okay, Tariq was putting up really good stats, but when you actually watch him, like, Sauce was locking dudes down, and that's where me and Jeff kind of went back and forth on it. And I think Sauce did enough to separate himself just by putting guys on a complete island, and that's what I think Terrion has to do.
I do just think that this year it's like very well known, and we do know that it was a lower defensive edge class. Like, we know that there wasn't as high as levels as we've seen in the past. And whether like, even though if Terrion and Quinyon dropped and they got taken a little later, that makes it that much easier for both of them. Like, hey, this wasn't like the best defensive class that we've seen in years. So like, that gives those guys a chance saying, hey, this is a year that a corner can win it again, like with Sauce. So I know with the Sauce class, like, you had Trayvon Walker, you had Aiden Hutchinson, you had dudes that got taken, but with this, it's like, I think there's a good chance, like, this is one of those years you could see that because it's a weaker defensive class.
And you also got to think too, in Sauce's class, Derek Stingley was taken, but he was hurt. So, he missed his rookie. He came back really good. Derek Stingley was really good. But it lessened the competition in terms of players at his position. Like, to your point, you have Terrion, you have Quinyon, and
Nate Wiggins.
Defensive lines. Who'd you? What?
Nate Wiggins.
I mean, yeah. I don't think Nate Wiggins is a bad player. I mean, the weight is concerning, but there's some good corners. I mean, we talked about it. The corner class was pretty deep. We always said that when we were talking corners. So there could be guys in round 2, 3, 4 that show out. So it's again, I want to make this very clear. Defensive Rookie of the Year it should not be his goal. I think it could be a goal, but long-term goal, there's so many more things he can accomplish besides Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I mean, if he does win it, that just means he did what like he's contributed to a top 10 defense. Because that's
he was better. He was even better earlier than I think I expected.
Yeah,
to be
and I think that's the only way he can win it is if he's out there with 4 or 5 interceptions, and the Detroit Lions have a top 10 defense, and he's a part of like getting those takeaways there. You guys know where I stand on takeaways. That's my number one rule on defense. Win the turnover battle. Yeah. So if he's doing that, that means something's good happening. So if he wins it, or if he's even in the race,
Yeah. I
Happy.
mean, think about like Pat Surtain, balled out his rookie year. Like people were calling him a top 5 corner halfway through the season, and he still didn't win it. So it's not. I don't think that's fair to grade rookie corners by any means off that metric. I think corners, it's more even so. Same thing with quarterback. Like year 3 is when I think you can really judge a corner.
It's fair. I real quick, I want to transition into the updated depth chart of the Detroit Lions, and Pride of Detroit did this. Shout out Jeremy Reisman, kind of going through his projected depth chart on who he believes will be starting, and what it looks like as of right now. It is early, but here's the depth chart for what he has. Again, this is PrideOfDetroit.com. You can check this out. And the quarterbacks will start with them. As of right now, Nate Sudfeld leads that backup job.
Don't like that.
Breaking news from Jeff. Wow.
Well, you know,
I understand.
You know
what, guys? I think we gotta be fair here. Okay. I'm being fair. So far through OTAs and minicamp, Hendon Hooker does not look like the backup quarterback. He has struggled. There's a learning curve, and he's getting used to that NFL. He's getting used to the NFL playing, not just sitting there on the sidelines watching, recovering. So Sudfeld, I think by default, I actually don't hate this, because even though I hate the thought of him even backing up anybody, it is kind of what you got to do. Now, come training camp, I think he'll be ready. Come preseason, you think he'll be ready. But now, yeah, I don't think you have much of an argument for Hendon Hooker.
Yeah.
He was struggling.
That's the big thing is like none of this matters right now, especially with the Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, this is based off training, not training camp, mini camp.
OTAs, mini camp. Yeah, like he hasn't played football in 2 seasons essentially, at a high level, especially at the NFL level. And now he's just like, he wasn't at training camp last year. He was there, he wasn't playing. And like when he got into starting making throws and getting into that from his rehab during the season, I mean, the Lions are making a playoff push at that point. So he's not getting reps at all. So these are his first reps in the NFL ever. And he's playing on a high-level Super Bowl caliber team, getting reps in OTAs. So Nate Sudfeld's been in the league for a while. I don't know. I don't really care how many stats or whatever he's done. It's just more so that he's been in the league. Like, you know how backups are in this league. They could do nothing in their college career, be a backup, but they're just good backups to where they know, like, hey, this is what we need to do. This is like my job. I'm going to be high level at being a third-string quarterback. Yeah, like I'm just going to be high level at reading plays and getting play calls out there and reading the defenses, and I'm going to help. Like, I'm going to be a great third string quarterback, and that's a job for guys. That's what Nate Sudfeld's really good at. So, Hendon Hooker's in a different spot right now. By the time, like, Dan Campbell came out and said when he comes back from training camp, he now knows all the installs. He knows everything, and he said he told him, I expect you to come back, be ready to go, and be knowing all this stuff at a higher level, and you should be able to take that step forward as the backup in training camp. So I don't think any of this don't mind it any business, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was well said. Jeremy writes here, Hendon Hooker received all the second team reps that I saw and much of the third team reps. However, if the season were to start tomorrow, which keyword were to start tomorrow, I believe Nate Sudfeld will be the backup to Jared Goff. The reason Hooker is getting a huge majority of the non-starter reps is because he needs those reps. The long-term plan is undeniably for him to be the backup, but he still has a ways to go. Won't be going into training camp assuming the job is his, which is fair. Running back. Okay, here we go. Jahmyr Gibbs. You see that? RB1. Yep. Dave Montgomery. Craig Reynolds. Obervaki?
By default. Okay. Kind of what you're saying with Hendon.
All right. Sione Vaki, Donovan Knight, Jamar Jefferson, not Jake Funk.
Jake Funk, LA Ram great. Jake Funk, Rams legend. Shout out ETN.
He's okay. Well, this, you know what? I don't.
Is this in order, or this is just what he's speculating?
Well, no,
I think it's in order.
It is in order because the first one was Jared Goff, Nate Sudfeld, and Hooker.
Okay, I just didn't know. It's speculation, obviously.
Well, yeah, he doesn't have like the.
He doesn't have the blueprint.
Yeah, this isn't like but this is based on what he saw, and I'm sure many of the media would agree with this.
Give me Sione Vaki over Craig. Sorry, I love Craig, but
I would go Sione Vaki over Craig because I think Sione was making some plays, man. He was making some plays, and that's. But hey, I think Donovan Knight's the best back between them besides Sione Vaki.
Oh, I
And
thought
he
you said you think Zonovan over Sione. Like, Jeff, I'm about to
no.
remove you from the studio right
I
now.
think
Me and Booner
Zonovan,
about
I'll
to
be
wrap
honest,
this
I think
show up.
Zonovan ain't that. He ain't bad.
No,
He's not bad, but he's not going to be your running back 3 ever.
No.
Someone
Baki
goes down,
is.
he's good practice guy, practice squad. Hey, we
Yeah,
need you.
he ain't bad. He ran
Hey,
behind that.
Bam, we need you.
He ain't bad. I mean, Jamar Jefferson, Jake Funk, and Zonovan Knight are all kind of in that. They're all going to be either cut or make the practice squad.
I didn't know Jamar Jefferson was still hanging around.
He's hanging around. They didn't give up hope on him. They didn't
Good
give up hope
practice
on
squad guy.
Yeah.
Jake
tight
Funk.
end.
Look at this
Sam
list.
LaPorta, Brock Wright, James Mitchell, Shane Zylstra, Parker. Is it
Hesse, I
Hesse?
think.
Yeah,
Hesse?
imagine.
Sean McKeon.
Sean McKeon. Okay. Yeah, this isn't anything surprising.
Yeah.
Not really, to be honest with you. Now, wide receiver. This is where it got kind of interesting.
Okay.
Amon-Ra St.
I don't-
Brown, Jameson Williams,
say anything yet.
Antoine Green, Khalif Raymond, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Maurice Alexander, Darius Fountain, Tom Kennedy, Caden Davis, Isaiah Williams. And then who's the last one? Traquan Smith? All the way down there? Not the Traquan Smith. Jalen Calhoun.
Can you go down? Is there like a paragraph explaining any of this?
Yes, there is.
I would like to just see. I want to see what real quick.
While neither particularly moved the needle much with their play when both players were healthy, Antoine Green regularly repped with the starters over Donovan Peoples-Jones, so he'll go into the training camp as a favorite to win the starting job. That said, Cleveland Raymond continues to prove why he deserves a role with the offense. As for the depth, 2 players to keep an eye on, Darius Fountain and Caden Davis. Fountain appeared to become a favorite target for Hooker with the reserves, and Davis always seemed to make a big play, at least one play per practice. So Antoine Green, he's getting some love.
I hope
No
this
comment.
is because Antoine Green is impressing a lot, and the thing that Antoine Green can bring to the field is stretch it vertically. So maybe he's just completely sky high in his valuation compared to being a 7th round pick, but it is a little concerning. That being said, I think if this were to happen, it'd be a quick switch to Khalif Raymond being the starting lineup, and after that, I'm completely fine. But if Antoine Green were to be starting week 1, I'd be optimistic just because I'd be like, all right, Ben Johnson trusts this dude. I think he does have the frame out there to be a high ceiling compared to what he was drafted with the 7th round pick. So I don't know, but it's definitely shocked me a little bit.
I do think the only reason Antoine Green is above Khalif is just because of they need that style. They need that style receiver out there, and I think that's literally the only reason. Because if you were not sitting there, hey, we need someone out, we need a big body out there. I think Khalif takes that wide receiver 3 spot, like especially in camp from what we've seen, like all the videos and all the articles you see is Khalif Raymond touchdown, Khalif Raymond another touchdown with Jared Goff, Khalif Raymond another big play. So I think like it just because of the position value, like where he's at and what he does for the team, but. I think that's perfectly fine. I think this just shows a little bit the conversation that I brought up on Thursday or Wednesday or whenever it was when Dan Campbell was asked the DPJ question, was that there is actually something to where DPJ is getting beat out right now. And those expectations do need to get brought back a little bit for Lions fans, in my opinion. And I hope that when training camp comes around, DPJ goes out there and dominates and flips that narrative back on the other side and proves everyone right. Everyone that was saying DPJ is going to be that guy, because that was the expectation. And now you have a 6th round draft pick, Antoine Green, beating him out right now, essentially. So that's not, I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think it is.
Let's assume that Khalif, let's not go off how football works and outside receivers. The top 4 ranked receivers, let's just act like Khalif's in front of him for whatever reason. Technically, he had Antoine Green above DPJ.
Yes.
Yeah. So
that shows something. That's literally the conversation I brought up.
What's going on here? What? And that's again based off what he saw. And I think that goes back to what we talked about with DPJ. It's his first off season truly here. So, there's some kinks that are being ironed out, but like you expect before trading camp, like he's the caliber player. He should be better than Antoine Green. If he's not, that is
I have a
One of the
trouble.
most
At least
disappointing things probably this offseason.
I have trouble using that as an excuse. Like, this is your first offseason here. Just because like you were here during the season. Like, it's not like this is the first time you've met Jared Goff. You just signed a free agent. I don't know. Like, there's a 6th-round draft pick, Antoine Green, who, yes, it was here last offseason, but you're a vet in this league at this point. You've had a big year. You've seen the NFL. You know it. That's what's expected out of you. Like, that's just, in my opinion, this isn't like a slide at DPJ. It's just like, I really hope it comes in training camp and flips that narrative around, because that's expected out of him.
Yeah,
I could be. Am I wrong?
I think you're right for having concern, but I just think it's one of those things, in my opinion, could be wrong. I just think when DPJ, if lines need him out on the field, he'll provide what he's been providing for the Browns and for every NFL team that he's been on. I'm not worried about DPJ. I think he can be wide receiver 3 through 5, whichever order he falls in, that's fine. But as long as he holds his own in those situations, I'm cool with it. Because you're not paying him a lot of money. You're paying him, what, $2 million?
Yeah, it is maybe that does speak to what they paid him, to be honest. I had more faith in him as a player, personally. I didn't think he was the answer solely, but I definitely thought he would be like a better option. I think he'd be farther along than he is now. But like you said, Boone, like Antoine was drafted here, had an offseason, had the entire season, then has another offseason. DPJ got here, half the season? So he was here half a season.
But again, he's a veteran. He should be able to. That's part of it.
I guess that's
and if
true,
if you have that much,
but like, still, even for a veteran, it's still a new offensive. Everything's new, offensive scheme, new everything he's jumping into. So
it's shocking seeing Antoine Green above him right now. That's to me, from the conversations we've had the last 2 months, it is a little shocking. It's like, oh, here we go.
I expect him to be a little higher on the depth chart. I mean, that was me, though. I had more faith in him as a player. But hey, I guess it is early. We'll see when training camp gets here. Because to Lucas's point, what he provides, I don't think disappeared. Like, he's a big body receiver who I think out in training camp with pads around, you're going to see him like make plays. So
hope so.
We'll see. Yeah, these are all way too early. But just again, you have to take it into consideration because it is who kind of impressed so far. So we're keeping tabs on these guys so far. So to Wilson here, June depth charts are worthless. I agree, but I actually disagree when it comes to seeing who's doing well and who's not. I think that matters. Like if a guy's just shitting the bed in OTAs and minicamp, it's like, oh, who cares? It's like, no, I think that matters. You know,
I do think like outside of defensive line and some of those types of position groups, when you do need pads to kind of get a feel for people, I do think like a group like wide receivers, like you're going to see who the coaches trust and who's out there being reliable and making, catches. Like Klotz was a receiver. Like I'm sure it's the same thing at any level, but they're not going to take a wide receiver at 8 and throw them out with the wide receiver ones. Like you get an idea of who they trust and who they want out there.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's not everything, but you have to factor some of it in to what, we got to play it both ways, right? If J-Mo's showing out during OTA's minicamp and we value that.
Oh, he's going to take wide receiver 2.
Then we have to look at who's not. You know what I mean? Like we can't be like, oh, DPJ's not showing up. It's okay. But when J-Mo shows out, it's like, oh, that means everything. Then we should keep it consistent and say none of this matters. And J-Mo, he's not nothing. Who cares? It's like, yeah, it's tough. But again, it doesn't. These things don't mean everything. I think we're starving for football. That's really what it comes down to. But
yeah, the reps. Like if Isaiah Williams was running with the ones consistently, you'd be like, what? Whoa.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Like Antoine Green's running with the ones consistently and DPJ's not. So you're like, whoa, like, okay, that's something to be seen, whether they're making plays or not.
Offensive tackle, you got Dan Skip, the top. That's all I had to see. Nothing off here.
Oh, look at the bottom. Look at the bottom.
Yeah, he's got some work.
He's got
some work to do. All right. Guy's 6'8", 350, no gut. He's got some work to do. All right. I'm okay with that. Guard, Kevin Zeitler, Graham, and look who's up. And look who's kind of been above Mahogany a little bit. I don't know. Muti?
Imagine. Muti.
Look at
Muti. Yodi, yeah. Mahogany, he is a rookie, so there's probably some things that he's probably ironed out. But keep it going here. Yeah, center. I mean, none of this really matters. Okay, defensive end. Let's get to the juice. All right, this is what matters. Defensive end. Aiden Hutchinson, Josh Pascal, John Kaminsky, Marcus Davenport, James Houston, Agude, Matthew Betts, Isaac Ukwu, and Nate Lynn. I do want to read what he said here. This is a difficult position to project because Davenport missed all of spring and James Houston the majority of it. So that's why it is how it is. Okay. Without a doubt, though, it was Josh Pascal who took a majority of the reps. Opposite of Aiden Hutchinson with the starters. It gets a lot murkier behind those top three, though. Mitchell Agude is a player to watch as he got a ton of second-team reps and even slipped in there with the first team in certain sub-packages. And despite me having him so low on the list, don't count out Matthew Betts either. I thought he had a strong spring, but he has mostly been rapping with the second and third teams.
That's fine. He's going to be a second or third team guy. He will make the team. He's had a big spring. He better come prepared, and hopefully I can reach out to him and say, hey, I need you to be. I'll get you a slice of pizza. I really need you to make the team. Come prepared. Come training camp here, brother.
He's gonna lock in for you, Boone.
He does.
I don't know if I like the cup though.
No, he will. I don't really want to even talk about the defensive line thing. I don't even. That's like the position group where it's like, I don't know. You just have to wait till training camp.
You have a Goudet higher than
no,
Goudet coming to save the day.
Well, Goudet's a linebacker, but I guess he's playing a little bit.
He's probably like a James Houston, like outside linebacker.
Yeah, that's what he is.
Again, though, it's Marcus Davenport was out, James Houston was out, and it's hard in the defensive line room to anything. Like Dan said it the whole time. Without pads, it's hard.
I think what you take away from this isn't that, because you're right. I think what you take away is Josh Pascal getting a lot of those first team reps. I think that matters. I know they were out, so he's going to get the reps, but I'm excited. I think Josh Pascal can be a pretty good player. I think he could be. I don't think he's going to go out there, just absolutely wreck the NFL or anything like that. No, I do think he can be a big contributor. Like, I think he can go out and get like 5-6 sacks this year.
He could be like a Melvin Ingram. Like, if he reaches his ceiling, he can be a Melvin Ingram where it's just a high motor. He uses his leverage to his ability. And I think if Josh Pascal can reach, maybe because what is he in his year 3 now? I think he's a guy that could potentially by the end of his rookie contract could reach 8 sacks. And I think that's maybe not what you wanted coming out of the second round pick out of Kentucky. But I think if you take that in consideration with where this defensive line is, having that be your third piece, potentially your second if he can go higher than that. But I think he's going to be a solid piece for his defensive line for the next couple of years. Yeah, that's the one guy where I'm not going to be like, ooh, when he's out there as far as the rotation goes. James Houston, sometimes I'll be like, ooh, I don't like him out here on this play. Davenport just naturally, but
I do think, like, to your point there, Klotzy, like Jeff and I had the conversation about the value of the draft. Like, you look at, second round guy, like you want him to, contribute at a higher level. But you do get to a point in a guy's career to where it's like, hey, if you could just give us anything, and I think Josh Pascal, and the same with the Levi Onwuzurike, if you can just take any sort of step forward this year, because we just need some sort of production from you this year, and we need to see that increase, I think that just is a positive on its own. If Josh Pascal can go out there and just give it any sort of production, because he has not really the last 2 years.
Give me something.
Just anything. Just give it. You know what? I'm going to say this. Give me more than any of the Quora brothers did last year or Charles Harris. Not hard to do. Not hard. Not hard at all. Not hard at all. Well, probably shouldn't have said that in that way. That could easily be clipped. But that was bad. But like,
not hard at all.
Not hard. Not hard.
I wonder how many sacks did Pascal have last year? Did he have any?
In one.
Yeah, I mean, none of those guys did well. Like, none of the Quora brothers. Like, there was not.
Hey, but this goes back to the numbers, Lucas. The eyeball test. He was impacting the game. He was.
I went again. Glimpse. I always preach on that on stopping that end around in the NFC Championship game. That's an impact play and an impact moment, and he was very, very fundamentally sound. He uses leverage perfectly. Got in the backfield, set the edge. One-on-one tackle with Debo. Yep. I think if he can just make those plays consistently for this team when they put him out there, that'll be a huge step into recreating that edge on the opposite side of Hayden Hutchinson, which they have to do with a rotation.
Dude, Josh Pascal and Levi O, if they take any sort of step forward this year, I'm going to be so happy. Like, I was like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me in my life.
Levi only doing it. I just hope, terrible,
like, pray.
But it's just, I think when you're a defensive lineman, specifically a nose tech too, when you have a back injury and like a major back injury, that's so hard to recover from. just because it's like, think about like the frame of a car. If you bend it one way, all the leverage is just going to be off. And it's the same thing with your back, man. Like, it's going to affect your shoulders, going to affect your neck. It's going to affect everything. And when you just keep going through these training camps and I just don't.
Why don't we have some faith, Klotzy? Hey,
my faith lies in Broderick Martin right now. It is left Levi O. Okay, I'm
Did you
sorry.
hear what Dan said about him?
I did,
Okay.
Boom. But again, this is OTAs. I think when he has to get in front of Frank Ragnow, when he's got to get in front of Graham Glasgow, these joint practices, I just think that's where Levi O shows where he's Levi O.
So with the defensive tackles, I want to see the big boys. Come on.
Yeah, well, he's on here too. I mean, you got Ali McNeil, DJ Reader, Levi Onwuzurike, Chris Smith, Mekhi Wingo, Broderick Martin, Kyle Pecco.
Yeah, I don't like this.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I think the depth chart, we should be looking at like the first 2 to 3. I think after that, it's kind of interchangeable. Like, how do you rank?
Mekhi and Broderick are the two that I'm interested the most in.
Yeah, and he said he did right here, right below it. Don't be too dismayed to see the Lions 2 draft picks at the bottom of this list. Again, the Lions like to make their young players work their way up the depth chart, and with Pecco missing the last week or two of practice, both Broderick and Mekhi Wingo got plenty of reps, albeit with the reserves. Levi Onwuzurike made a very strong case for a defense role this year, but don't forget that many of the players listed at the defensive end position have the versatility to kick inside.
Yeah,
which that's important too. I mean, even Steel Chambers, huh? He's on the linebacker list.
Steel Chambers just got I think let go today.
Oh, don't say that, Bill.
I'm 90% sure Steel Chambers was released today. Sorry about that, Klotzy. But they picked up actually. Hold on, let me go get this.
Yeah, they did. They signed Ben Neiman.
Good reserve. He played a lot in Kansas City. He was I think he was a special teams guy. Played in like almost every game last year for special teams.
Steel Chambers was no Tommy Eichenberg. He was a fine Buckeye linebacker, though.
Damn.
I think it was a good move they made. I think
Lions
it was a good
legend
move.
Steel Chambers.
Should get the jersey.
Sad day. That's a cold name. Like that. Like that's a running. Yeah. Like if he should have been a running back. Should have been a running back.
That's like if you're born and you get that name, it's like I'm gonna do something great.
Steel Chambers.
Yeah.
I mean that's an old-time.
Sounds
that's
like
an old-time football name. Yeah.
It's Steel Chambers. I mean that is like the final boss in a video game. Like you're facing. That sounds like someone just completely badass.
I gotta go against Steel Chambers, dude.
Yeah. Steel Chambers. He kicks the door. It's like that's what that.
It's like loading.
Yeah. It's like the fight screen. Steel Chamber. He's like a Mortal Kombat character, dude. Man, shout out Steel Chambers. It was a good run.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, while it lasted. Shout out Ohio State, Klotzy, eh?
Yeah, and beat the fuck out of Michigan this year.
It's crazy. How'd you guys do last year? The last 2 years, last 3 years.
Dude, if Ryan, this is like a Ryan Day proof roster. If he fucks this up, oh my god.
I love you, Klotzy. You know I respect you a lot.
I know.
I don't respect anything you say about Ohio State because you absolutely backstabbed me on the bet. So anything college football wise, you are almost dead to me when it comes to
Sharon Moore.
I don't care. Anything you say about college football that comes out of your mouth means zero, nada, nothing to me.
That's fine.
Nothing backs it up.
When I'm preaching to the choir, Boone, zone it out.
The thing about this business is people love people they can trust. You cannot be trusting college football. That is why you're in Ohio State.
So you're not. So you're saying you can't align your trust with the CPO?
That's a different sport. We're talking college football now.
No, it aligns. Can you trust me or can you not? I think you trust me.
Not in college football. Not in college football. You're the last person I'll talk to when it comes to college football because you are not a man of your word when it comes to bets.
But I'll openly admit that I'm not. But
that's not it. That a real man in college football would own up to his bet. You are not.
I just couldn't do it.
You don't make the bet.
In my life.
Well, fellas,
I don't even know if the people know what the bet are.
The bet are. I mean, what is the bet? What's the bet again?
It is. Klotzy, do you want me to explain it or do you want to?
What happened?
Go ahead, Boone. I'll let Booner have his moment.
Klotzy looked me in my eyes. And we shook on it, and I took a picture with him with the Michigan helmet on, and he says, "If Ohio State loses to Ryan Day this year, I will become a Michigan fan for the next year. And we shook on it, looked each other in the eyes, and I said, deal. And he said that was only if Ryan Day stays the head coach, if they do not fire Ryan Day. And they did not fire Ryan Day. And he is still the coach. And guess what? He backpedaled. We shook on it. Man's word, eye contact, shake, everything. And as soon as he ended up just not even close. We're supposed to be boys. We're supposed to trust each other. We're supposed to be able to go to war together, be in the trenches together. Can't even a handshake bet. That is something that you do not look each other in the eyes. Now, how can I trust you with my life?
Oh, so now it's not more than college football.
When it comes to college football, if we're in the trenches for college football, how do I trust you with my life when it comes to college football?
Everything you said is true, but I'm man enough to say I was wrong for doing that. And I can't do it.
You can't even, there's no saying wrong. This is not a thing you can come out and be like, I was wrong.
They kept Ryan Day.
No.
But then they had the most massive offseason of college
Who
football
cares?
team has ever done. And I was like, you know what? I don't even think Ryan Day can fuck this up. And I honestly, you can say it all you want, but I want you to imagine having Ryan Day as your head coach. You want to leave too, but there's just something you just can't. You can't. Ryan Day, it's not even just because he's an average football coach, but having to look at Ryan Day on the sideline is disgusting. It's appalling. I hate looking at that jet black fucking beard. The dude can't even recruit to save his life at Ohio State level. It's all Brian Hartline. He is single-handedly sunk in that program, and it's made it nauseating to watch Ohio State football on Saturdays. I just can't do it. It's so hard to watch. And so, I was going through confusing times, Booner. I was struggling with my college football identity. I was kind of feeling some things out, expanding my horizons. But you know what? I came back to who I was, and I'm an Ohio State Buckeyes fan, Boone. You can't take it.
Klotz, you know what? Everything you just said there went one in ear, out the other. I do not care. You made a bet. What is the saying? What's the saying?
Oh, my God. He would have this hill.
Anyways,
go ahead.
A man is only as good as his word. And we shook on this. And I don't care if you're an Ohio State fan. I don't care if Ryan Day had the best offseason of all time.
He didn't
You dug yourself the hole there, and you have to stay on.
And I'm allowing it, Boone.
I will never make a bet with you again in my life. And that's
we already have. We have one from. We have numerous bets out,
and you probably won't live up to it. And you probably won't pay it off.
All right. Remember this, Boone. Remember this.
I will remember. I mean, dude, a bet is a bet. That is insane. Jeff, you want to talk about bets? How's that hair over there looking on you?
What?
You shaved your head, didn't you?
How did I get started to this?
I'm just saying, a bet's a bet. Accountability, correct? Did you shave your head? Shave your head?
I eventually did. I tried to get out of it. Me and D-Max
you can't say anything to me.
We had an accountability conversation. I couldn't run from it. I had to sit there on Big D Energy and get live stream while I was getting my head trimmed off.
Let me ask you this, Boone. So if I'm not a man of my word, if I was an Ohio State fan rooting for Michigan, deep down I was rooting for Ohio State, though. Am I being a man of my word, or am I being a man of my word by letting you know?
It was 1 year. You have to wear a Michigan
gear. I'm sorry. And I just can't do anything about it. There's nothing I can do.
That means you still didn't own up to your bet. Sometimes to live up to a bet, you have to put the face on and go deep down. I'm an Ohio State guy, and you're cheering for them. But outside in front of the people, because you made a man's bet, you shook my hand, and you made a man's bet. You put on the Michigan gear next year,
not a man of
and
his
you
word,
fake it, and you fake it. This is what it is, man.
I just can't fake it. I can't.
Well, then you shouldn't have made the bet. Then, if you knew
you're absolutely right. I shouldn't have, but I did. Sucks.
It's unbelievable. That was great. That was fun, but
you guys like that violin music I got in there.
Every time I think of college football around Klotzy now, and I used to love watching college football with Klotzy. It was one of my favorite things in the world. Outside of not with Klotzy. He's going to be on the other side.
This went deeper than college football, Boone. You might have to go find a new CPO.
Okay,
you might have to go find a new.
No. We're talking two different sports here, brother.
No.
Okay, if you're doing that,
then you brought it outside of sports.
No, I was what?
Yes,
no, this is all college football. This is all about college football.
You said you can never make another bet with me.
I just don't know if I can trust you when it comes to betting.
See?
That's all.
See?
Steve says I wasn't Lukas when I made that bet. I was finding myself.
I was going on a retreat.
Hey, let's bring in the voice.
What does self-righteous mean? I don't know what that means.
It's
DMT,
like
DMT,
entitled.
We need the voice of reason.
Oh, shout out Phil. Self-right.
I don't know. I heard new CPO, so I had to hop in real quick. I needed that promotion. I
Hey,
got done
we need
cleaning
the
the
court of
bathrooms.
public opinion
They're-
led
they're-
by the Michael Gentry, Booner, and Lukas. So just give a quick little couple 30 seconds. Of what
Gentry
happened.
knows. Gentry knows.
Yeah.
He knows. I've had this conversation with Gentry. He's a Michigan man. We've had this conversation.
I heard the gist of it. I heard you guys arguing back and forth, but I didn't hear what it was actually
so
about.
the bet was if Ryan Day was not fired from Ohio State this offseason, and I looked Booner directly in his eyes and shook his hand, that I would not be an Ohio State fan. And time came around, and I just was still an Ohio State fan. So that's what
He was supposed to. The bet was next year. It was only for 1 year. He's a Michigan fan next year. Michigan gear. Rooting for Michigan all year. That was the bet.
Lucas.
And when he did it, he had Michigan gear on. I took a picture of it. I'll have to go back and find it. But he has a Michigan helmet on, and he said, "I will." Like the whole bet was, he will be a Michigan fan for the next year. If Michigan beats Ohio State and they do not fire Ryan Day, that he will be a Michigan fan. And he will drop Ohio State for the next year, and he will jump aboard the Michigan bandwagon for the season. And he just is. And Michigan won. They didn't fire Ryan Day. And guess what? He was like, "Oh no, I don't know if I can do it." Don't make the bet then. Don't ever make that bet. I don't care about anything else.
With new information such as
No, that's a bet. No information. That's a bet.
Jalen
This isn't a take. This isn't a take. This is a bet.
That is tough, Lucas. Lucas, you might not have to root for Michigan, but you should at least have to wear their gear every week. You have to follow through for that part.
Dude.
Michigan,
Let me just
Ohio
make
State
$1 million
gotta wear
bet on. Let me just make $1 million bet on the Mavs, and when they lose, I'll just go to FanDuel and say, "With new information, they lost. I knew they were going to lose.
Maybe
Let
they
me get
consider
my money back.
Maybe they
Give
consider
me my million
Maybe they
back."
consider it. If you're
No,
throwing around
no.
$1 million, they might.
That's
they
not
might
how this
find out.
world
But
works.
Boner, did you actually expect Lucas to do that?
Yes, because we've had me and him.
I
went
hated
through
it.
together.
I hated Ohio State.
This
I
was
hated him so much.
I know how much he hated Ryan Day, but I
as
still
much as you
didn't
might
think he was going to follow along.
I could possibly suit up on game days in Michigan gear. That could possibly happen.
If you do that, Klotz, I'll give you the biggest hug, and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Even if you're
So
rooting for
all
Ohio
I have
State.
to do is wear the gear. All I have to do is wear
every
the gear.
Saturday.
He should
Michigan
wear it
game.
to the Ohio State
We'll
game.
do
That'd
that.
be
We'll do
hilarious.
that.
But no, Jeff,
Not
it's every game. It's every game. You have to
Ohio
wear.
State, Michigan.
You cannot wear Ohio State gear. No, it's every game. To get out of this, it's every game. You cannot.
Wait.
I
Here's
think
the
that's fair.
contingency.
There's
Except in
two.
Ohio State playoff games. I can wear Ohio State.
No,
When they're
all
playing,
season.
I can wear it.
No, all
Unless
season.
they're-
No.
Yep.
No Ohio State gear all year.
I'll wear
Michigan
my
gear only.
These Nuts Ohio State shirt
Then
on
it's
their big game.
You can't. You're not supposed to be able to have a say in this because you're the one that backed out of the bet.
Well, I do.
Yeah.
I'm giving
He's
you.
middlemaning his own bet.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't middleman your own bet. It's you wear Michigan gear all year long.
They're not huge fans of the response here.
Jeff's
Hey,
just
this-
stirring the pot. He's
In
been
time,
here
I can
before.
build it up. I understand.
I
where
like it that
everybody's
it's
at.
not me. Hey, the reason why I did my hair is because it's over immediately. Once you get into that long term,
In my defense, I didn't think I was going to lose.
That's
I
fair.
didn't think I
That
was
is
lose
fair.
that bet. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, in the Klotz's defense, I also thought Ryan Day was going to get fired.
But I'm saying, like, when Ohio State plays, I'm making the fucking situation up. Miami at 1 o'clock. Michigan plays at 8 o'clock.
No, you can't wear the whole original bet was you're a Michigan fan for the year. Now I'm letting you cheer for Ohio State. I'm letting you be an Ohio State fan. The only thing is
Fine.
you cannot wear any Ohio State gear
Fine.
all year long. If I catch you with an Ohio State shirt on, the bet's off again, and we have to figure something out. And it has to be only Michigan gear for Saturdays.
Fine.
That's fair, Lucas. That's fair.
I know, Gentry, okay? I know.
All right, Lucas, what are your thoughts on this? Adam's calling you dumb because you wanted Ryan Day fired.
That's fine. That's fine. Adam, it's like Adam didn't grow up an Ohio State fan. He doesn't know what it's like to be an Ohio State fan. It would be like trying to think. Adam isn't even a fan of a college football team, is he?
No,
he's
he's
not.
kind of like
Disqualified for
like
this
me.
conversation.
He's
Like,
a
me
Michigan
and him
State
are
fan.
Really,
Like if you just like watch Ohio
Adam's a Michigan State
football-
fan.
Here's
think he
here's
is,
when
yeah.
you knew Ohio
He
State
is.
football was going
I
down the
think
drain. When you trot out a white quarterback at Ohio State, there's issues. That's your first red flag of okay, they're not playing Ohio State football. You can't expect Kyle McCord to go out there and win you a natty. Okay, it's never gonna happen. Nope, you're not Bama. You're not Bama with just SEC talent. I know they got, but it's a different situation. I think with everybody returning this year, they'll be able to overcome it. Kyle McCord, you're Ohio State. Kyle McCord is your starting quarterback. Fuck out of here.
By the way, too,
Ryan Day, keep him around.
This is one of the worst takes in all of sports, I think, guys. If you didn't, and when it comes to Division I football, when it comes to Division I sports, that you cannot be a fan if you didn't graduate there. That's one of the dumbest takes of all time when it comes to college football. I think it's like literally the number one dumbest take ever. I think that's like the worst thing ever.
No, I know.
If
don't.
you didn't go to the school, you can't be a fan.
I don't think he's saying that. I just think that's how he thinks. Like for me,
well, then he thinks wrong.
Maybe like for me, I had my dad's a Michigan fan, my mom's a State fan. I didn't really have like a specific school I was drawn to.
I apologize. Maybe that's not what Adam was saying. He was just saying he didn't go to a school, which is fair. That's fair. Like he didn't grow up.
Yeah, you can do whatever. Hey, I'm not.
I just hate like.
I don't think he is
I don't
either.
think Adam was saying that, but I do agree with you, Booner. People that think like that are dumb. I don't think.
Like when I was trying to host a serious show last year for college football, and I couldn't get an actual takeout because everyone's just screaming at me saying I didn't graduate. I don't have a degree from there. I think it's like one of the worst things ever. I'm trying to do a job here and I can't talk because I went to Saginaw Valley, but my whole family since I was born and since like the 70s we're all Michigan fans, and that was what I grew up. So it's like okay. Like, just because I'm too dumb and I couldn't get into school. Sorry, my ACT wasn't good enough.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Gatekeeping colleges and shit, that's arrogant.
Weird
activity. Yeah, it's weird behavior.
That 11-2 thing, it's like, okay, there's 11-2, then there's a fraud 11-2. When your quarterback can't go off Marvin Harrison and then do a second read accurately without shitting down his leg, yeah, you're going to lose. Like, Travion Henderson was finally heating up against Michigan. You know what they decided to do? Let's start throwing the ball with Kyle McCord. Like, if you're telling me that that's the guy that built an 11-2 program, you're fucking high. If you watch Ohio State and what they do on the inside, like, they literally had to pull Ryan Day away and be like, stop calling plays. Stop calling plays. And he still finds a way to bitch on the sidelines, bitching at Brian Hartline. Brian Hartline should be running that show.
Hey, tell me more.
He should, actually.
And also, tell me how it makes you feel.
Oh no!
When
you're tuning in on Saturday,
Ryan Day's got that. Just tell me more.
It makes me feel anxious. It makes me feel like I can't get out of bed. It just makes me sad. I just don't like the way it makes me feel.
Oh, that's funny as hell.
Think about the fact that TJ Stroud and didn't win a natty.
Yeah, I mean, to Adam's making the point on the opposite side. It's like, dude, you had the roster. Like, yeah, you won a Rose Bowl. The rosters that Ryan Day has had. The fact you don't win, like if he doesn't win this year, that's embarrassing. Like, that's embarrassing. Like having the roster that you're about to have. And
could you imagine if Urban Meyer had this roster right now? People would be like, "Yeah, throw away the season." Like, and I'm not saying he has to be Urban Meyer, but that's what I'm saying. Like when you're talking about like fire Ryan Day, why? It's like because there's a standard at Ohio State of coaching, and he does not fit that standard. So let's stop wasting time. He's never going to be that. Get a legitimate guy in there.
Broski
I do agree.
So Lucas, what's your confidence level going into this year?
I think they have the most loaded roster that they have ever had, as far as offensively and defensively. Like there's multiple first round picks that should have went this year, especially like JTT and Denzel Burke. Those guys would have been first rounders, and they came back. And then the NIL, they brought in Jeremiah Smith, who's going to be a freshman that's probably going to be the next Marvin Harrison, and he's going to be starting week 1, and he's going to be dogging on the Big Ten. So, and then they get Jalen Downs, who's the best safety in college football, who was at Bama. Like Nick Saban recruited that dude. Nick Saban's a defensive back wizard, and he's like, well, I'm not sticking around here. I'm going to play Ohio State and win a national championship. So I just think that this is the most loaded roster they've ever had.
So what if they lose to Michigan this year?
Who's what?
I said, what if they lose to Michigan again?
If they lose to Michigan, dude, and Alex Orgy and oh my God, I would Ryan Day should never step foot in Columbus again. There's just no excuse.
If I'm being honest,
come on, Klotzy.
I think Michigan loses.
Want to make that bet again?
You guys are losing.
I would throw up. I would throw up.
You guys are losing minimum 3 games at Michigan this year.
Okay, we'll see.
I
Yes.
think
All right, Adam, let's bet.
I think
Give me over 6.5.
Obviously.
Give me over
Yeah,
6.5.
they can make it with 3 losses. I mean, you guys can make it with 3 losses. I don't think you guys beat Ohio State. I just don't. Why is Alex or please explain to me as Michigan fans, why is Alex Orji? Why is he like the consensus? Oh, this guy's him. Like, explain what's going on with. I know he's uber athletic, big physical guy. I mean, tell me about Alex Orji. Why should Michigan?
Dog.
Oh, this guy.
He's a dog. That's all you need to know.
I will.
Yeah. No, to be honest, there is still some concerns. I want to see him throw the ball in the game and whatnot. Obviously, he's athletic. He can run a little bit, and with the way Sherrone Moore coaches, that may work to our advantage. But you're a quarterback. You got to be able to throw the ball. So until I see him a few games in, I'll kind of be the judge on it. But there still is question marks. You know, you let JJ obviously goes away. So next man up.
Yeah,
He's
no, it will
like
be
an
an
Ohio
interesting.
State fan. Like, as far as like, I think Michigan is they're not gonna go undefeated again. They're gonna lose 2, maybe 3 games. I don't see 3 games. But when you have like Alex Orji in the red zone, that's terrifying because he honestly does have like that Jalen Milroe where it's like there with his arm, you know, there's gonna be turnovers, but he can make some special throws. And I think in some games he's just gonna get hot. And I just hope to God it's not against Ohio State, but he's talented. Like, he scares the fuck out of me as a college quarterback. He's scary. Just because of all things he can do athletically.
I mean, Michigan, they got a tough schedule this year. That's why I'm excited. It's going to be good.
They do, but I don't see them like they're not going to take a massive step back again. Like, I do think that they're going to be in the college football playoff still. I do think just because they lost so many players, a lot of people are going to be counting them out just because of that. But
the schedule
is tough. But I mean, again, now you have a tough schedule, that's going to set you up even more kind of for down the line. So I do think that like they still have a great defense. They have like the best defensive line in college football. You know, like you still have Will Johnson.
14 players, though. I mean, that's
they did, but like they've lost that many players every year the last 2 or 3 years. And yes, Jim Harbaugh has left, but I still do think Sherrone Moore,
Mason Graham, Will Johnson.
I do still think like they can recruit. They've been recruiting, and they still brought some guys. Michigan's not going anywhere. This program is so. Jim left this program in a very good spot. I do have confidence. Like Adam's saying that they're going to have 6 losses and go 6-6. That's insane. Like that's just trying to have a hot take to have a hot take. That's not true. 6 losses. Make the bet. Come on, do something.
I think they have 2 losses right off.
That's
the rip.
fair.
I think they lose to Texas, and I think they lose to Ohio State. Everything else, like I think they could lose to Oregon. They face USC, Washington. I think they beat Washington, but that's already 2. I mean, 2, 3. You can argue 3. Like that's why I don't.
I think like take those,
but they're gonna lose a couple games for sure.
Dude, everyone just froze on me. I like went to go talk. I didn't know if everyone just stopped talking. They just froze. I think though, like you have those games, like those 4 or 5 really good games. Let's say even if they go 2-2 in those games, you're still going to go out and sweep the rest out, and then you end up making the college football playoffs still with the new format. So it's not like.
Now the thing about, I think they do lose to Oregon. I forgot about Oregon.
Yeah, I think
Oregon,
Texas, and Ohio State. I think they're losing. Oregon, you can argue that's 3. USC is going to be a tough game. Even I think USC travels to Michigan. I think that's at home. I think I could be wrong.
USC is going to be dog water anyways. They're going to be the same. Like I can't think of their quarterback's name off the top of my head, but he's a dog. But they have nobody else. Defensively, they're going to suck.
Defensively is where they're lacking.
Oregon and Ohio State are the best 2 teams in college football this year. I know Georgia's there, but I just. Texas you could throw in there, but I just think Oregon and Texas, if they were to play right now, I know Oregon just lost Bo Nix and everything like that, but Booner, who just transferred there, quarterback from OU.
Oh, Dylan Gabriel.
Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel's like the perfect guy to plug in there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not that worried about the Oregon game. The Texas game scares me a little bit more, but the Oregon game, obviously, I think they're both in the big house, but the Oregon game is in the big house too, so it makes me feel a little bit better about that.
Hey.
But Texas, OSU, those are going to be some scary games for sure.
West Coast teams traveling.
Some things to work out.
For sure. West Coast teams traveling benefits you guys. I mean, Oregon and USC. Texas, I think Texas, they're one of the best teams.
I do think Texas is going to have a chance to win a national championship this year.
I do too.
So, and I do think like Like that's going to be a tough game for Michigan. But again, like you have like the segments in the schedule to where you're going to have those 4 or 5 like tough games. If you can get out of that 4 or 5 game schedule with 2 or 3 wins, I think you're setting yourself up for a position to make the college football playoffs. If you're going to have to hope other things around the nation kind of work in your favor. But I do think if you go out there and win 3 of those 5 games, then okay, you're setting yourself up to be able to do that. I don't think you can go out there like last year and go undefeated and go 5-0 or 4-0 in those games versus Texas and Oregon and Washington and USC.
Yeah.
Like that's tough. And that's tough. And I think like this new college football that you're going to see like now what's happening. You're going to see a lot more bigger games because of some of these teams going to the SEC, the Big 12 teams going to the SEC, Pac-12 coming to the Big 10. You're going to see a lot of more bigger matchups, top 25 more matchups. And some of these top teams are going to have more losses. Like Ohio State, though, like that's a team to where they do have a chance to go win like all of those games because of the roster they have. Michigan lost a lot of guys. They're going through that like not rebuild, but hey, we're gonna have to we're gonna have to break these. Yeah, like we're gonna have to break these guys in quick because like you have a whole new team now. It's not like guys that have played together for 3 years like JJ and all those guys. It's like new guys. So it's like you don't have the preseason games anymore to let's get a feel for each other. Let's see how we are. Like, no, I think week 2 is Texas. So it's right away. Here we go, fellas. Like we got to go right
and that's
away.
what Alex Orji's second game. He goes,
yeah. So it's instantly. So there is that, like, that's where I do think there's going to be that a little bit of a drop off for Michigan to where you drop a couple games because of that. Sharon Moore being a head coach for the first time with this schedule, I trust him, but like this is tough, dude. Like college football is changing quick.
You guys think? No, go on.
There's going to be a lot of hiccups, but the defense is kind of what keeps leading me on. Like I think the defense is going to be great, just like last year. I don't know if they'll be as good, but they'll be one of the best defenses in the country without a doubt. So as long as the offense can run the ball, control the ball, and then occasionally make the throws when Alex needs to, I think they'll be good.
I am
kind of Iowa-esque, like 3-0 wins.
No.
I'm kidding. I'm joking.
I am interested
Alex
to see
just get you 7, you win. Just get you 7, and you guys will win.
Who I'm interested is the Donovan Edwards thing.
Oh,
because
yeah,
last year he struggled during the regular season. Like he only shows up in the college football playoffs or just big games. So I'm interested to see if he can put a full season together. That's like my biggest
Lucas has
question.
nightmares about the Don.
I do. It's fucking terrifying because he's nothing in the other 11 games of the season.
Yeah, shout out to Don for winning that bet for me. Huh, Klotzy?
Gross. Hey, Marvin got me some money too.
I'm talking money to buy you some Michigan gear to wear next year.
Ooh.
Honestly, we were all tailing that bet. 40 yards Quorum, 25 Edwards, TD Quorum, and then you throw in like 25 yards for Roman Wilson. Remember that you guys were cooking it up for me.
Was that
free money?
Was that when we were doing the live streams?
Well, we were at Gentry's. We were at Gentry's.
Yeah.
Trip.
Oh, I wasn't.
We made some dough. I made some more money on Harrison.
I wasn't invited.
Yeah, you were.
Booner.
No, I was working. I was doing the live stream, boys.
You were invited.
Live stream.
I invited all the boys over to the live stream that I was hosting.
Oh yeah.
No one showed up.
I invited you to my house, Booner.
I had a big sponsor. I had a sponsor that said, "Hey, we want Booner. We want to work with you." I said, "All right, let's do it. Let's roll."
Yeah, the boys didn't really show up. Honestly, that is kind of. But hey,
I was over it. I was checked
looking
out.
back,
I won a lot. I won a lot of money too that night too on stream for the people.
Hey, yeah, let's go. Hey, Steve Lehman says Mailbag with a little under $40 million in cap space, knowing what kind of things are, knowing kind of how things are looking. Does Brad get a free agent edge or wideout or both? I think both are on the table. I think those are probably the more likely positions. I think just to bring in someone for depth to compete, I think that would be probably the option.
I think he does make a move too, because he did say in the press conference, or Dan did, I'm going to speak with Brad next week, and the only thing that the only thing I really would like is more depth on this roster. He's like, I think all of our guys are good. It's just depth. So I do think they will bring some guys in.
I do think it'll be a depth piece, if anything, not like a big signing by any means, not throwing some big money to anyone by any means.
Hey, D-Town, he says Will Johnson will be a top 5 pick.
Yes. Best secondary player in the
I think he will be one of the first corners. I don't know about top 5, though.
Top 5. Generational.
I love him too, Booner. But
he's no Jeff Okuda.
Remember this.
What a time. Keitho Mailbag, just an idea. Have you thought about doing a raffle for like a jersey when people buy merch, like a hoodie and raffle tickets in them?
I'll do that.
I
I think we're
actually
going to
did
start doing some more
have that idea.
giveaways.
Keith.
Keitho, we've had conversations about doing a giveaway with merchandise. So please, you know what? While we're at it, let's plug the merch because we got.
Look at you, Iafrate.
That's a great transition. Well, Keitho, let me tell you what you won today.
Come on down.
Let me tell you about the brand new car.
You got yourself
Toyota Corolla.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You won yourself a Corolla. Here's the T-shirt came out over the weekend. Are you playing? Who's playing? Did you guys click that?
Oh, they're still going. I meant to mute it. My bad, fellas.
I kind of was vibing.
I was doing it. I was trying to do it with when you were doing the pitch.
Come on down. No, but we got the new Sub-Zero short sleeve T-shirt out. The new Sub-Zero design. Get your merch. We got that, a T-shirt and a hoodie version, along with all our other designs that are currently live as well. I mean, we got the polo. I mean, yeah, you're going golfing, you need a polo. Mike, actually, your buddy just ordered a polo. He said it came in. He said it looks fresh. He said he likes it.
My other buddy got a hat too. He likes it as well. So good thing so far. Good
Roman
feedback.
got his hat. The man who we are in the house that Roman built, he did get his hat. He says he does enjoy it. He likes it. So you know what?
Go.
Hell yeah.
We need like a Roman approved. Like he likes it, so will you. I promise you. And a lot of other things, by the way, are being shipped and or their tracking's being added. So that means they're in the truck or on the way to your house. So look out for that. A lot of stuff. I know a lot of the confirmations email may not have been sent out, but they are coming. I check them every day to make sure that everything's on track, and they are so far. So that is exciting.
Get your merch.
Yeah, get your merch. Get your merch.
Jeff, did we make a bet about Dan Hurley?
No, we didn't make a bet about Dan Hurley.
Just checking.
We had an argument about
coming for all of it.
Yeah, we had an argument about what would be like optimal. Like if I was speaking for Dan Hurley, I think you thought it'd be smarter to stay in college.
For sure.
I like going to the NBA. That would be my forte. I'm happy for him. I mean, hey, he gets a bunch of money. Fuck yeah.
I
deserves it.
If he stays there, I will stand on it. The path he's on, I know he's only won 2 national championships, but it's hard to win a national championship in college basketball. He is on track. If he does stay in college basketball and he keeps doing like he will be the next, like that's why I wanted him to stay. It's like, dude, you are the face of college basketball. We already know you're one of the best best coaches in general in the world. You have a chance to go be the next Coach K, Roy Williams, you have the chance to be that next guy. If you stay, you kind of keep winning. Like you're going to keep winning and keep recruiting. Like that's not going to change. So I think he's going to go there and he's going to stay there and generational coach, like one of the best of all time.
Yeah.
By the
he
time
is.
his time's
He is
done.
an excellent. He'll have job opportunities. I think it told me and told the rest. I think it told the Lakers. I know maybe not me, but it told the Lakers that you guys aren't as big as you think you are. You know, I think the Lakers aren't what typically you'd think the Lakers
They
are.
could have just asked me. I would have told him that.
Yeah, kind of brought him back down to earth. Jeff, who do you think they get now? Did they get JJ Redick or?
I think they pivot. The thing is, the side chick found out about the main chick. All right, so
I hate when that happens.
Dan Hurley. I can't relate to that, obviously. But Dan Hurley found out, or excuse me, JJ Redick found out about Dan Hurley. So now it's awkward. Now it's like, now they got to settle in their terms. Like, you know, Woj reports they've been on Dan Hurley since the very beginning. And now it's like, hey, JJ, want to meet? Want to get this done? You want to just sign the fucking paper? We'll just get this wrapped up.
Bring Van Gundy out the woodwork.
No, I actually like JJ Redick, to be honest. I do. I think I'm a big JJ Redick. Joe Klatt, JJ Redick. Those are my like.
There is a weird situation developing in the NBA world with the Detroit Pistons to where if they move on from Monty Williams, I'm pretty sure Borrego potentially is like the front runner to go to Cleveland now. And JJ Redick ends up going to LA. Who was the third guy again? The Miami Heat assistant that we were talking about.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
The Heat
the Miami Heat assistant. Give me a second. I actually like him, to be honest with you.
He's the dude from the Warriors, you're saying, Jeff?
But you're just going to get stuck in a position to where you move on from Monty. You're not going to have a choice. Like, you're just going to have one option, and you're not going to be able to actually sit there and do like interviews with the best. Maybe I saw
no coaching candidates out there
Quinn
are a better coach than
Shout
Monty
out to
Williams.
chat.
Yeah,
Chris
Quinn. He's going to be a guy who's going to be eventually head
Shout
coach.
out Kenji and Ryan.
Yeah.
I think you give Monty Williams a team that can actually play basketball and get some guys that can spread the floor, a roster that makes sense. Then you kind of judge Monty Williams. I mean, yeah, it looks like the guy lost interest when he had a rotation of Killian Hayes, Jaden Ivey, and Isaiah Stewart off the bench. So I cannot blame him.
He's probably outside like the practice facility, just smoking a cigarette, just like
stressed out.
Let it burn. Just like you come out there, he's just. I'm just gonna hang out here for a bit. just thinking, why the fuck did I? Actually, I know why he took it, because of the job or the money, but also he's not absolved. I mean, he did a lot of dumb shit this year, but they would have already fired him, in my opinion. Every day that goes by, it's more likely he stays, because it's the NBA draft this month. We're going to wait till a day before and be like, all right, welcome to the new job. Who are we drafting today? He walks in like, no, you got to keep the guy. I think he would have already been fired, but whatever. All right,
you want him to stay? Oh shit, we're gone. Never mind. Sorry.
Hey, we appreciate all of you so much. Thank you. We're getting closer to the season. You can check it out. Had a Mike Florio video today. The message
Booner, what the fuck are you doing?
Not have gotten across as I imagined.
Booner.
Check out the video. I went through the same old Lions narrative that I saw our former employer put out a video. Same old Lions narrative, absolutely bullshit. And then on top of that, Mike Florio saying that the Lions, no, they're not sneaking up on anybody. Yeah, they found that out last year, buddy. This whole year. Now that it's over. Check that video out and understand where I was coming from. But until tomorrow, have a great day. Have a great day. Stay blessed.
Put it up.
Oh my gosh, guys, there. Arnold